Welcome in, everybody, to the Rant with me, Pugs Moran, and Pugs and Company. You're the company in that. Like, follow, subscribe. This is Opposition Talk. The opposition will be live streamed, ladies. There it went. Did you hear that? It just... All right. It's been a week. It's been one of them weeks. Thank you for joining us. We do Opposition Talk here. What is Opposition Talk? I don't know, sane, logical, reasoned, normal people talk. That's the opposition these days. That's where we find ourselves. I am neither a Republican or a Democrat. I am somewhere in the middle. I lean right on some issues. I lean left on others. I think that's who we are, and that's who this show is for. Now, organized radio that I'd worked in since 1992. Remember, just the other day, it was my 34th anniversary on Groundhog's Day, 34th anniversary in broadcast radio. Broadcast radio doesn't want to give this kind of content to you, the people. No, they want to divide us. They want either a show that is going to be about right-wing politics and supporting dear leader, talking about radio now, or sports. That's it. Those are the only two kinds of conversation that is allowed in what we call legacy radio or mainstream radio, broadcast radio. So we have to take to the streams. I know. I've been working in major market talk radio as a talk show host since 1992, and I can tell you that this kind of talk is not allowed anywhere. So we do it here. We've been doing it here every day around about noon since 2021, and I'm so glad to see you all here. Please tell your friends, spread the word, like, follow, share, all of that stuff. Our numbers have seen a bit of an increase over the past couple of weeks. That's very encouraging. So whatever it is that we're doing now, we've got to continue, and we've got to do it even harder. So please support the opposition talk. Opposition to what? That's a good question. Opposition to whatever the fuck has been happening around here. That's all we are. All right. By the way, I have to thank all of you for bearing with me this week. Typically, I will promise you a 2-hour live stream each and every day. That's what we've been doing since 2021. But you know me. Sometimes I just get it going and we go 4 hours. Hell, we've gone 5 hours. We've just sometimes just done a stream for as long as I feel like talking about stuff that's happening in the world. But recently, and here come the hiccups. Oh God, here come the hiccups. Oh God. Hey, that's a good sign. My body is healing itself. Point is this. This week, the shows have been a little bit shorter because I've been sick, and now I've got hiccups. Oh my God, guys, do you remember when I used to get plagued by hiccups? Like every show, it was a mental thing. It was a mental hiccup. It was quite literally a hiccup. Where the show would start, and I would begin hiccuping, and I can control it. I'm a professional broadcaster. I know how to stop hiccups. Oh God, I'm gonna die here. Here's the point. Let's reset. I've been sick all week. I've been sick since midweek last week, and I've been giving you bad shows, and I feel terrible about it. And I think one of the things that contributed to the bad shows, especially the shows this week, I didn't even come in on Tuesday. Tuesday I was feeling so bad. It's a cold kind of a deal. But I've given you such bad shows, and I think I figured out why. It's because I've been taking, just before I go on, about a half hour, 11:30 every day, I've been taking this cold medicine, this stuff that is supposed to help me not cough and not, it's supposed to help. And what it's done is it's been like fucking methamphetamine. So for the last few shows, I've been all over the place, even more so than I typically am. So today I didn't do that. So today I'm going to try and dial in, and I'm going to try and see the difference. However, I can tell you that the result, the effect of that is going to be that I'm probably going to have to take more breaks because I got to clear all this out of me. I got to go into a bathroom and blow my nose and, do all that stuff. So please bear with me. We may take a couple more breaks than we usually do here, but I am going to give you a full show because I promise that I'm not going to get dizzy and lightheaded like I did yesterday. I don't know what I was ranting about yesterday, but all of a sudden it was fairly early in the show. It was about an hour into yesterday's show. And I don't know if you go back and you can watch it. It's available there on Radio Misfits on the YouTube page. You can just go about an hour in. It's just before the first break. Typically, I'll wait an hour and a half or so from the first break. I had to take the first break early yesterday because seriously, in the middle of a rant, I started to almost pass out. It was crazy. And I know it's because of those damn, whatever they are, Dayquils or, I don't know, they're in the kitchen. They're in the other room. Anyway, here's my point. Now, you got me here sitting complaining about this cold that I've been fighting. Everybody in my life has something wrong with them at the moment. And everybody in my life, the thing that is wrong with them is far more important than a goddamn cold that I've been suffering through. Seriously. My mom, her husband, my kid, we don't talk about, but he's got a thing that he's going, he's fine. Don't worry about my kid. He's going to be fine. But yeah, all I'm saying is I need to shut the hell up about my cold because nobody cares. People are going through things. I go home, I'm staying with my mom, and I'm like, yeah, I've got a cold. You know, people have real things in their life, so you don't need me complaining about my cold. So I do apologize for the last few days. It has pretty much been affecting the way that I do the show, but we're going to muscle through today. I feel good today. I feel good. Byron, he's a big meth head. He's the meth head in the chat room. He says that meth never does that to him, that he's always able to do a complete 4-hour stream without being... Byron doesn't do meth. It's a joke. He's not a meth head. Maybe he is. I don't know if he's a meth head. I don't think Byron's a meth head. Kevin's in the chat room. Kev says, Pugs, Tawny, Phil. Saw a shadow, 6 more weeks of insane news cycles. That's right. Guys, last night I posted this on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at any... you can follow any of the platforms. Facebook. Got me a TikTok there. I got everything. Just go ahead. Just Pugs Moran or Pugs and Company on any of those sites. Posted on Twitter last night. And yeah, I still call it Twitter. Posted on Twitter. I still call it the Sears Tower. I'm a Chicagoan. It's always going to be the Sears Tower. Hell, in Dallas, what do we call it? I still call it Smirnoff. I don't think that's a thing anymore. Anyway, they change names. As you get older, you'll realize that institutions that you have come to know and love by a certain name suddenly get changed, and you are probably not going to change what you call it. Hiccups. Still fighting the hiccups. I'll tell you about what I posted. This is going to be awful. If I'm seriously just going to hiccup... of all the things that are wrong with me, the hiccups come back. They did. Seriously, guys, we've been doing this show every day at noon for about 5 years, going on 5 years now. And for the first 2 years, the first 10 minutes of every show was me fighting the hiccups. It was a mental hiccup that whenever I would hit start in the show, I would immediately start hiccuping. It was weird. So here I am now. After defeating that, the hiccups are back. All right, so I tweeted last night, and this is in response to what Kevin just said there. Awful news cycles. Well, first of all, we don't have news cycles anymore. We got to stop using that term. There used to be a news cycle that was dependent upon the publication of daily newspapers. That was a news cycle. We don't have that anymore because news comes whenever. We are in a never-ending news cycle. We're in a news loop, and everything is bad. Everything is bad. This is what I tweeted yesterday. I tweeted, of all the truly concerning things, and we are at apex level of concerning things in this country, things that we should truly be dialed into. Of all of these things, these nonstop things, somehow the Savannah Guthrie story is exceptionally worse than all of them. Do you guys feel this way? I can't. I just can't. I can wrap my head around troops in cities. I can wrap my head around the argument between, ICE, they're fascists, and ICE, they're trying to enforce the law. I can wrap my head around all of that. I can even sort of think about what's happening in Iran and what's happening with Europe, and I can justify that as just politics and maybe just bloviating. But then something so fucking random comes out of nowhere, like Savannah Guthrie, the host of the Today Show's mother being abducted. And then it's not just she wandered off. It's like there is something going on here. This is like a kidnapping of Frank Sinatra Jr. This is like a Lindbergh baby type thing. This is an important story, and I think it shocks us all because we are so conditioned to being tethered to our side, if you will. Everything that is upsetting that is happening in this world, our reactions can be directly tethered to our idealistic view of the world. The Savannah Guthrie story doesn't do that. Savannah, there is no MAGA people going, she should have been abducted. That's not happening. This is a story that is unifying everyone in this country by how awful it is. All of us have mothers, or at least, the lucky ones have mothers, and the truly lucky ones have great mothers, as I do. But everyone had a mother. I guess that's the way you say it. Everyone has had a mother. And it resonates so fully with everybody, regardless of who you vote for, right? It's the rare issue. It's the rare issue that has just captured our attention that doesn't fall into political lines. And maybe it's because of that it seems worse. Is that it? Is it because everyone is in agreement on this, that this is fucking terrible? Except for whoever these kidnappers are, and they haven't been made known yet. At least I don't believe they have. It's I don't know. It's just, I didn't think that things could get worse. And then the Savannah Guthrie story, it's like, oh, there's the cherry on top. The horrible, nightmarish story that unites us all. Should be noted that Donald Trump picked up the phone and called Savannah Guthrie. I know. I was surprised by the way, that's my tribute to Kelly. I do that. We do the show from the Kelly Moore studios. Anytime you hear me go, I know, that's Kelly. That's 100% Kelly. That's how she used to say it. Anyway, this damn story is the cherry on top. It is sort of like the thing that bonds us all. We can all agree that the Savannah Guthrie story is horrifying on every level. I mean, they're going to catch these guys and we're all going to be unified. Hopefully there's going to be somebody going, I don't know. I don't think they did it. Oh, shut up. There are other stories that have happened over the past couple of years that have been unifying. I mean, not to this extent. I think even the weirdos are keeping their mouth shut on this. But I would say the Charlie Kirk story was unifying. People hate Charlie Kirk on the left. Some people on the right love him. Most normal people, I think, looked at him like, what's going on with him? I think that's how most normal people looked at him. But we saw that video and it was horrifying. And we all agreed that is a horrifying video and not the way to do things. Now, it eventually dialed down back into politics, but that was in the moment. It was horrifying. No lefty, when the first time that video was released, no lefty who hated Charlie Kirk. I didn't particularly care for Charlie Kirk, but I didn't see that video and go, yeah, we got one. Nobody did that. Maybe some monsters did, but we don't count monsters among us. We are tagging the monsters like they're buffalo in the wild, and we're just watching their migration. That's all we do. We don't even tag the monsters. Let's be honest. We just kind of we go, hey, that's a monster, and then the monster's allowed to just go do whatever he wants. We got a lot of stuff we got to get into today. A whole bunch of stuff. We are going to talk about the Savannah Guthrie story. We are not going to be playing that video. So don't you want to go watch that video? You go watch that video somewhere else. I am not going to watch a video of Savannah Guthrie pleading with kidnappers to return her 84-year-old mother. That was one of the most upsetting things that I've ever seen. And I had to turn it off halfway through. And I don't know. Did everybody feel that way? Man, I hope to God everybody did. I hope most people got halfway through that video and went, this is too much for me, a decent, normal human being. I don't need this in my life. So we're not going to play the video, but we will talk about some other things, and we'll check in with the Today Show and see how the Today Show is handling all the details. I'm pretty much NBC. For all Savannah Guthrie news, I would go with NBC because it was her network, and she is a journalist, and if anything is going to break, it is probably going to break from her own office. You know what I mean? So NBC, we're going to check in with the Today Show. We're going to see what they're saying about these recent developments. Just truly horrifying. We're also going to talk about the interview that Trump did last night with NBC. Who's the guy? Look, I like this. Don't get me wrong. This is a good thing. I don't know who the guy is that interviewed Trump. Never saw him before. NBC, what'd they do? They clean shop. They just put a whole bunch of new people in there that we don't hate yet. That's good. That's good. If the person doing the interviewing is somebody that we don't have these preconceived notions on, that's good. So I don't know who that guy was, but Trump did an interview. He said some Trumpian things, and we'll check that out. We'll break out some of the things that break down some of the things that he said. Bitcoin is in the toilet. We're going to talk about that about as much as I can. I don't know anything about this. It all seems very Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, and Bitcoin. Three things that I know nothing about. I can add Fast and the Furious movies into that too. I don't know dick about those movies either. But Bitcoin, we'll talk about that. Apparently the whole situation is going down the tubes. We've been talking the last couple of days about the situation in Texas politics concerning the Democrats. Today, we're going to focus on the Republicans. That's right. There is some Texas Senate cattiness going on between the leading Republicans, John Cornyn and Ken Paxton. Oh my God. Look. John Cornyn is what he is. I don't know what to make of John Cornyn. John Cornyn's been your guy forever. He is what he is. But Ken fucking Paxton is obviously a mutant. I mean, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about all of that. There's some cattiness going on. Also, this is going to be one of our big stories today. We're going to spend, I got some thoughts. Do you know the Sham Wow guy is running for Congress in Texas? He's running in the Texas 11th, which is, I promise you, he doesn't live there. The Texas 11th is like Temple and Killeen. Seems to be like northeast, maybe a little bit of like San Antonio, northwest, maybe a little bit of Austin. I don't know. Vince, the Sham Wow guy, the guy that was busted with prostitutes and drugs and then beat up the prostitute. He had beating up a woman, drugs, and sex with a prostitute all in one evening, and now he's running for Congress in Texas, a state he doesn't live in. But we're going to talk about how that came to be and what they think of you. What they think of the Texas 11th that this guy is running down there. He's trying to unseat some dude, John Carter, who's been there for years. We'll talk about it. This is what happens. We get the Sham Wow guy now in Congress because he always seemed trustworthy, right? So we'll get into that. We're also going to talk about some Epstein stuff. We're going to bring Maddie. Maddie's got a lot on her mind. I have been sick and overwhelmed with Epstein stuff, and I don't know where to start. I keep telling you, it's like me as a 13-year-old kid being sent to my room by my mother. Clean your room. And I'm standing in my room, and I don't know where to even start. Do I vacuum first, or should I just clean all this garbage out first? I don't know where to start. That's how I feel about the Epstein files. I don't know where to start. Maddie does. She's going to join us. We're going to do a whole Epstein segment with all the crazy stuff that she's found. Try and figure out what's real and what's not real. The return of Kamala Harris, folks. Kamala Harris is back. Wait till you hear about this. Oh, don't do it. Don't do it. We'll get into that. We're going to talk about the Clintons testifying and how this is turning out to be a problem for Comer and the Republicans, who were really just grandstanding. They never thought that they would get the Clintons to testify. And now the Clintons want to sit down, talk all about Epstein, and they want it to be public. And so should we. So should we. It ain't going to be good, especially since Hillary's going first. She got nothing to worry about with the Epstein stuff. Maybe Bill does, but I don't think Hillary gives any fucks these days. So let's go. Now we'll just have to see if Comer and them allow them to testify publicly. Because remember, Comer, this whole Epstein thing is about transparency. So we'll get into that. I also want to talk about a story came out of the East Coast. Are you guys familiar with the Brendan Banfield story? This is Brendan Banfield is a former IRS agent who was found guilty last week of murdering his wife and I think we'll call him a prostitute. I'm not entirely sure if he's a male prostitute, but he was found guilty of murdering his wife and a prostitute. And you might be thinking, well, Pugs, if he found his wife with a prostitute, why would he? Is this the whole? No, there are details. It's weird. The details are weird. It concerns a smoke show of a nanny. Oh, yeah. There's a smoke show of a foreign smoke show of a nanny. She's foreign and look, guys, or ladies, I should tell you ladies and guys too. Just if you got a baby and you're in a position where you can get one of them there, au pairs. If you're in a position where you can do that, guys, do yourself a favor, make her fuddly. All right, nothing above a 5. You can't be bringing that into your home, especially if you're a good-looking guy. This dude was not a good-looking guy, but if you're a good-looking guy, you can't bring a hot young nanny in. It's just gonna be too tempting, and you're gonna fuck up your whole life. And the women, why on earth would you allow a sexy foreign au pair to come? Anyway, we'll talk about this story. It's crazy. They were in cahoots, and Brendan Banfield was found guilty, and we'll talk about the seedy details. AI wants to rent your body. We'll talk about that. And just a whole bunch more stuff. We got a bunch of videos that we'll watch, some funny stuff and all that. It's going to be a long show. We're going to do a good show today. I promise you. I feel incredibly guilty about how bad these shows have been this week because of this cold. So I'm going to push through and we're going to work hard and we're going to have a good show. Let's say hi to the people who are joining us in the chat room already. We have a chat room. April says that I am missing the Guthrie press conference. All right, let's see if we can pull that up. We'll watch a little bit of that. Is there anything new? Anything there? They got any new information? There was a whole bunch of activity there. Nope, can't do that one. Hold on. I gotta use one. Okay, I'll use this one. This is news. Here we go. Let's check in with the Nancy Guthrie press conference going on in Arizona. I believe this is the special agent in charge for the state of Arizona, Phoenix. Hold on. All right, they're bringing the special agent in charge, FBI Phoenix. Here we go.
Thank you, Sheriff. Hello, I'm Heath Yankee, the special agent in charge of the FBI's Phoenix division. First, I want to let the Guthrie family know that our hearts are heavy for them. After seeing your message last night, it is clear that you and your family are in pain. Please know that we are doing everything to bring your mother home. The FBI is now working this case jointly with the Pima County Sheriff's Department, and we're going to start today by announcing a $50,000 reward for information leading to the recovery of Nancy Guthrie and or the arrest and conviction of anyone involved in her disappearance, and this will be the missing persons with the reward that will be going out. The FBI has agents, analysts, and professional staff employees working day and night with our partners at the Sheriff's Department. We have deployed additional intelligence and agents from our Phoenix office. We have brought in our critical incident response group from Quantico, Virginia. Members from our cellular analysis survey team are here, and they continue to collect and process digital information. We are actively reviewing and analyzing information from all digital sources, which includes banks, social media companies, phone companies, and any other organizations where a digital footprint could have been captured. All this information provides data points and helps put the picture together. And we will be in the community continuing to conduct a thorough investigation with our partners. You heard about us out there last night. We will be back out there today. I would ask the media, give our investigators the space to do their jobs while they're out there. Next, regarding the ransom letter. We are aware of a ransom letter that was sent to the local media and then to national outlets. As with every lead, we are taking it seriously. We are in communication with the family. And while we advise and recommend from a law enforcement perspective, any action taken on any ransom is ultimately decided by the family. Thank you to those in the community that have called in tips. For anyone out there that may have information, no matter how small you think it may be, please report it. You can do so by calling 1-800-CALL-FBI or online at tips.fbi.gov. My next message is to those imposters who are trying to take advantage and profit from this situation. We will investigate and ensure you are held accountable for your actions. We have made one arrest related to an imposter ransom demand, and a complaint will be presented to a magistrate judge later today. You will get more on that from the FBI and our U.S. Attorney's Office here in Arizona when it becomes available. To anyone that may be involved, do the right thing. This is an 84-year-old grandma. This is an 84-year-old grandma that needs vital medication for her well-being. You still have the time to do the right thing before this becomes a worse, much worse scenario for you. Please return Nancy home. Thank you.
All right, that was the FBI guy. Now this is the sheriff of Pima County.
Can you walk us through that timeline from when you believe, if you look at this here, from 147 to 228, what you think happened there, and what particular software would have detected somebody on camera?
Yeah, I don't. I know we know the software that was there. But I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm just not in the weeds. I know that. Think of your doorbell cameras. Somebody walks up. My wife's. If I walk up, she gets an alert, and it's usually something like that. A person's detected.
So to understand them both, one, does that mean that it was about a 45-minute span that the suspect or suspects would have been on the property? And then also, does this essentially mean that you cooperated with the tech companies and you can officially say that no surveillance video is available from the home?
We know that the tech company that we sent that camera off to, yes, they've said they've run out of ways to recover any video.
Next person's going to be ABC News, Aaron Kukursky.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Was what 45 minutes?
Can we say it's about a 45-minute span that somebody would have been on the property then, from 147 to 228?
Yeah, I think those times speak for themselves, and it is about, like I say, those are approximates. So yes. I'm sorry. Who was next? Did you say?
Aaron Kukursky, ABC News.
Hi, Sheriff. Thanks very much. Is there information that you are purposely withholding because of the active investigation that might be leading you in a particular direction?
You know, this is no different than any criminal investigation that we conduct here. Law enforcement has conducted investigations since 1865 here in Pima County. We're always mindful of what it is that's in front of us and what we should release and can release. There's legal guidelines that guide us, but there's also strategy too. So, I'll leave that for you to determine.
Now that you are having such an injection of manpower from the Pima critical incident team and the FBI, we can slow to bring that in at the outset. Should all of these resources be brought to bear sooner?
I guess that it's Monday morning quarterbacking. I do it all the time, so you have the opportunity to do it for me. I'll take that hit.
CBS News, Jonathan Vigliotti.
Sheriff over here, has there been any proof of life, and has there been any sign of life?
I'm going to anything to deal with the ransom notes and that I would defer to the FBI. But no, to my knowledge, we're still looking for Nancy.
And for my follow-up question, if I can speak with the special agent, what was it about this apparent ransom note that now 3 days on you first haven't been able to validate, and second, it warranted informing the Guthries of its existence?
So the ransom note that was sent out there, obviously every lead in this case, we are taking extremely serious.
Well, not
Given-
everyone is presented to the family. Why this one?
because this was the ransom that came in and it had facts associated with a deadline, with a monetary value they were asking for. So at that point,
what were some of those facts, if you can, because there's been a lot of speculation, as you know, to set the record straight.
yeah, the ransom itself, one talked about an Apple Watch and one talked about a floodlight. We're not going to go into specifics. It's very important that we keep this investigation moving forward, and we don't want to put more facts out there that others then can use to try to profit from this.
CNN, next, Ed Lavandera.
Agent, I want to follow up with you real quick on that. There have been, as far as we know, I think 3 ransom notes so far, 1 arrest. Are they all different? Do you think there's different authors behind all of them, or?
So the one that went to the media is the one we were currently investigating and working on. The imposter that I talked about, where an arrest was made early this morning, that there would be more information. We believe there's no evidence to connect this to Nancy's case. It was someone that was trying to profit from it, a total imposter.
And Sheriff, you started off the press conference by saying you believe that Nancy is still out there. Do you have reason to believe that she's still out there alive, or are you fearful of the worst case scenario here, that she won't be found alive?
Well, I'm certainly fearful of that. I think we all are. But it is we operate from a position that until we know she's out there, she's alive, and we're going to continue thinking that way until we find her.
Fox Digital, Mike Reese.
Yeah, sir. Michael Rivas from Fox Digital. Sheriff, you said you've identified no suspects. Have you ruled out anyone she was with on Saturday night?
You know, we've talked to so many. I'm sure that my investigators have feelings about this one's clear or this one isn't. But no, I wouldn't say anybody's ruled out yet, because what if I rule you out and then later I learn something else? No.
So my follow-up, you mentioned that you don't know where the reporting of a forced entry came from. Do we know how whoever did this got into her house?
That I would not discuss.
Come on.
Paul Morrow.
Question for Agent Edwards, if I may. Agent Edwards, will the Bureau be submitting the DNA for investigative genealogical investigation relative to maybe hitting a relative, somebody if you want?
I would say the DNA aspect of this case is being handled by the Pima County Sheriff's Department right now. However, should we get to that point, yes, that would be an option for the FBI to assist.
A quick follow-up. Does the ransom note that you're working establish any communication protocols?
No, it does not. And that is what I think is important, that if someone has Nancy and is demanding the ransom, that there is communication with the family. We talked about there has been no proof of life, and there was no other demands within that letter. So they're still waiting for communication.
ABC affiliate, Ashley Holden.
Holy shit. All right. Apparently that's not helping the stream at all, as we have lost literally 90% of the people that were checking this show out. It's just gone completely away. Apparently nobody cares about the press conference. I was riveted. That was interesting to me. There was some stuff there. And, let me just say, first of all, about that Pima County sheriff. He looks like a sheriff. He looks good. If we were casting a sheriff, we would cast him to play the sheriff. He just doesn't seem to have it as far as being able to deal with the national press and the questions and the tricky way they ask questions. He seems befuddled by a lot of the stuff he's being asked to comment on. Typically, you get a sheriff we see a lot of these sheriffs. Anytime there's a mass shooting, we get to meet the sheriff. Anytime there's like a big story from somewhere in the country, we get to meet the county sheriff. And oftentimes they appear like, you'd want them to. Oh, now that's a sheriff. This guy looks like a sheriff, but he has not been impressing me. I will say who has impressed me in this Nancy Guthrie story. And I'm happy to say that they have impressed me, because I have zero faith in this institution anymore, but the FBI. The special agent in charge, who I've seen now in a number of press conferences, is really on the ball. He is really dialed in. He seems like he is a legit FBI guy, which is more than I can say for the people who are running the FBI. They are not legit FBI guys. Not in my estimation, anyway. All right, so what do we know? We know that the blood that was found in the home, Nancy Guthrie, blood was found on the porch. That was one of the first big, indicators to police, law enforcement while investigating that this was something other than just a gray alert where an older person had wandered off. The blood on the porch is Nancy's. It is, which is horrifying. First of all, that there was blood on the porch is horrifying, but now we've connected the dots, and it is what, we'd all feared. The other thing, ransom notes. The ransom notes are really interesting. Yesterday, we played TMZ talking about the first ransom note that was sent. The first ransom note, I believe it was a copy. They were word for word the same note. They were sent to the local CBS affiliate there in Arizona, which I thought was interesting. Because Savannah Guthrie is an NBC person. Why wouldn't they send it to NBC, the ransom note, if they were truly trying to reach Savannah? Anyway, they sent it to a CBS affiliate there in Phoenix, and they also sent it to TMZ. TMZ, we played the clip of that yesterday where Harvey Levin and the dude with the dreadlocks that he hangs out with, we're going to call him his boyfriend, Harvey Levin and his boyfriend, they were talking about how TMZ received a note. We didn't know if that was being treated as a legitimate note. But as it turns out now, yes, apparently that one, the first one that was sent to TMZ and CBS in Phoenix, those notes are being treated by the FBI as being legitimate. We learned about another note, which is not related to those notes. See, this is why it's all very confusing, because yesterday they were talking about notes, whereas the day before it was just a note. So I'm like, are these the same notes, or do we now have people just trying to make money, right? Which apparently we did. Apparently there was also a phony note that was sent to somebody else. The police said that they made an arrest in that case. Who's this person, right? Who is this person that doesn't have Nancy Guthrie but thinks that they're going to make a quick buck by issuing a ransom demand? Who is this person that thinks they're going to get away with that? Who is the person that actually has Nancy Guthrie that thinks they're going to get away with getting a ransom and then giving her back? That person is crazy too. But imagine being that level of crazy, but then also not having her, just doing it as a goof and thinking nothing's going to happen to you. What is the charge for that? Like, what are you looking at? Like, if I wrote a fake ransom demand to Nancy Guthrie's family saying, I have your mother and give me $5,000 or whatever it was, we don't know. We will when this person goes to trial. But what is the penalty for that? It's certainly not life in prison. It is a despicable social crime. I mean, this person is a monster. But what is the actual damage? 2 years? Can we is 2 years? You put him in prison for 2 years for writing that note? Because he didn't physically harm anybody. He's not like a thief. He didn't rape anybody. He emotionally molested and raped the Guthrie family, or attempted to. I don't know what would the penalty for something like that be. All right. What else do we have? Anything else that we wanted? There was a whole bunch of stuff. By the way, chat room, if you're still watching the press conference, I had to bail out of it. We lost everybody. Everybody was like, no, I don't want to watch the press conference. And they left the show. Some have come back. So thank you. But chat room, especially Maddie and April, if you guys are still watching the press conference, let me know if anything new pops up. Let's watch how the Today Show this morning covered it, because I like, as I said, when it comes to this story, I think that the best and first news that we're going to get on anything breaking is going to come from NBC, which is the network that Savannah herself works for. So that's just what I think. So I choose to watch the Today Show. So let's see what the Today Show had to say today. Today Show this morning on Savannah Guthrie. Let's see. Here it is. Sorry. There we go. Again, we are not going to be watching we're not going to be watching
Nancy's heart.
Here we go.
Is in Tucson. But
are they gonna show it to us? All right, There's Savannah. All right, let's watch this from the Today Show, how they reported the updates on the Savannah Guthrie story this morning.
But Nancy's heart is in Tucson.
Well, Mom, you guys came here in the 70s and you had been moving all around. What made you want to stay in Tucson and plant roots?
And so wonderful. Just the air, the quality of life is laid back and gentle. Yeah, I like to watch the javelina eat my plants.
But the best thing about Tucson is coming home and
Yes.
seeing you guys. Should we raise a glass? Prickly pear margarita? Cheers.
Cheers.
Love you.
Love you.
Wait,
The part about Tucson
Hold
is
on.
family. El
Sorry.
Charro is the oldest family-owned Mexican restaurant in America, and the
All right, what is this? Another story? Wait, I thought that was going to be this the update from the Today Show. Apparently, it's not. Savannah Guthrie superfans. Oh, this is the story about superfans. So they're looking at apparently these morning shows. I mean, I guess they do. I mean, Radio DJ had weirdo superfans. I mean, I still get emails from a certain individual. You know, Savannah Guthrie superfans who crossed the line are now being probed in desperate hunt for Star's abducted 84-year-old mother, Nancy. Police are probing superfans who bombarded NBC host Savannah Guthrie with gifts and mail before her mother was abducted. Think about that. I mean, look, I know I just said that, you know, radio people have like, you know, Howard Stern had crazy superfans. But I think that that's almost more understandable because people who do like what Howard Stern do or what any other popular talk show hosts do is they connect with people deeply for 4 hours a day. Savannah Guthrie on the Today Show isn't connecting deeply with the audience. It's all superficial. She is doing stories that are prepared and she's not allowed to just, you know, emote, although to some degree, I guess the morning show hosts do. But it's just weird. Like, what kind of a person is a super fan for Michael Strahan? And not because they're a Giants fan. like that, I get. Like, if you're a Michael Strahan super fan because you grew up a New York Giants fan and you love him, but if you're a Michael Strahan super fan because he hosts Good Morning America, you're weird. So apparently Savannah Guthrie's got those people. Police are probing super fans who bombarded NBC host Savannah Guthrie with gifts and mail before her mother was abducted. Investigators have asked NBC whether there were any troubling fan interactions that could be relevant to the case. This comes as a major manhunt approaches its fifth day after Nancy Guthrie, 84, was snatched from her home in Tucson late Saturday night and has not been seen since. No suspect has been identified, and police insist there is no danger to a wider public. As one of the hit morning program's top stars, Savannah Guthrie has long been accustomed to receiving fan mail and unsolicited messages, some of which have crossed the line. Oh, I bet hot women, and she's a hot woman. I bet you hot women get all kinds of weird creeper psychos. I know Kelly did. My partner Kelly did. I know Sybil did. Sybil, our producer back in the old Pugs and Kelly show. Kelly had a lot of weirdos. Some of you are still around. Anyway, no suspect has been identified, and police insist there's no danger to the wider public. She has long become accustomed to receiving fan mail and unsolicited messages, some of which have crossed the line. There are so many people who reach out and just get a little bit too familiar. Many of them. That's always been an issue. As long as I've been here, Matt Lauer used to have so many. I don't know who this person is. They haven't attributed this quote to anyone, and I hate when journalists write this way. Anyway, now this person who apparently works within the Today Show, who has not been named yet, is now talking about Matt Lauer. It says that Matt used to have many women reach out, and some of them were pretty delusional. Hoda Kotb, she had a few, but not a lot. Ooh, kind of catching strays there. Hoda Kotb doesn't have many, crazy fans. That's an indication that maybe she's meh. Meh, the French word for not important. As one of the hit morning program's top stars, she'd become accustomed to it. Matt Lauer used to have many, many women reach out, and some of them were pretty delusional. Hoda had a few, but not a lot, and Michael Strahan has some. All right. We're just looking at pictures now. Now I'm just scrolling through pictures of Savannah and her mom. Says here, I don't think Savannah has more crazies than anyone else, but she has had a few people who just crossed the line. Too much communication, sending gifts, asking her out, just not knowing boundaries. Yeah, well, that's crazy people. And I don't know if they're crazy. You know, the not knowing boundaries things, that's not crazy. Like, you know. So I'm going to say something here that maybe is going to be a bit controversial, okay? You know, a lot of weird people out there, they're not crazy. You know, people who don't understand social boundaries and all that kind of stuff, they're not crazy. I think we just say, that dude's crazy, stay away from him. It's not that they're crazy. It's just that there are also, in addition to the millions and millions of Americans who are running around sharing oxygen with us, who need to be in some kind of fucking mental health treatment, and they're not. In addition to all of that, we've got like just shit tons of people who are on the spectrum. Just shit tons of people. They're functioning, but they're, you know, these are the people that don't know boundaries. Like, I promise you that if a 45-year-old man from Lexington, Kentucky is sending Savannah Guthrie notes asking her out, that person may not be crazy, but I promise you he used to eat paste. He was the weird kid in the back of the room. That's what we used to call kids with autism. They mainstreamed kids all through the 70s and 80s. Every class had a couple of weird kids who would now be on the spectrum, and we'd have a different way of dealing with them. But those people grew up, and they're still out there, and they're just weirdos. They seem normal by all accounts. You might work with them, and it might be the brother of somebody that you're friends with, but you know that there's just something off. They're not crazy. They're not dangerous. They just don't know social boundaries. People who are celebrities tend to be a magnet for that. So I imagine Savannah Guthrie just had, oh God, so many people who just didn't know, just didn't realize. They're not necessarily dangerous and they're not necessarily terrible, but they're just socially awkward and just don't understand the whole thing about boundaries. All right, so anything new? I'm trying to see if there's anything new that was revealed in the press conference there. Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy, missing, going into a 5th day now. The Pima County Sheriff and the FBI are currently holding a press conference. Barney's in the chat room. Barney says, were they delusional, though? Lauer seems like the type that might bang randos. Oh, definitely. Definitely. Hot randos. You know, like Matt Lauer would like probably bang like a 25-year-old hot rando that he met in a bar. But I don't think he was just slutting around with any old thing. I mean, Matt Lauer was a pretty good-looking guy, made a lot of money, was high profile. I could see him beating him off with his stick. All right, thanks, Barney. Let's see. Maddie has some information regarding what I was questioning about what the crime might be for somebody who writes a fake ransom demand. They don't have Nancy Guthrie, but they're just going to write a fake ransom demand. We learned earlier in the press conference that they had arrested somebody for writing a fake ransom note. Extortion and wire fraud would be implicated too. This act could carry potential layers and many years in fines. 2 years. Whoever it is, they'll end up doing 2 years. That seems like a 2-year kind of sentence. It seems like something that is so much more spiritually worse than what the actual criminal penalty would be. You know, it's just one of those weird gray area crimes where you're like, I don't think this is the death penalty, but holy shit, man, what is wrong with you? All right, let's move on. Let's see. What other stories do we have? Okay, I don't need that. I don't think we're going to be talking about all the trades the Chicago Bulls have been making over the past 36 hours. So I can close that window. That is not conversation for this show. All right, Trump did an interview with some guy at NBC who I never saw before, which is great, which is just great. All the legacy news, they need to fire everyone. They just need to put new people out there, new people that we can't project bullshit on. Because that is the problem with the established media in this country. Everybody has been in their job for so long that the opposition to whatever they're perceived to be has branded them, right? I mean, nobody takes Anderson Cooper seriously. Nobody takes Jesse Waters seriously. Nobody takes Rachel Maddow seriously. We've branded all these people, so they can't sit down and talk to people, and we can't get an honest conversation. Because we project all this bullshit that we already know about them. Oh, I hate this person. That question's bullshit. New people, just all new people, man. People we've never seen before. And that's kind of what NBC did yesterday. I don't know who this guy is. Of course, he may have been around for years, and it's just that I don't watch network news anymore. But let's check this out. Trump sat down with this dude from NBC, gave a long-ranging interview, said a whole bunch of things, a lot of interesting stuff. But I wanted to play this clip because this is the one that really kind of got me, This is Trump talking about, he was directly asked by this rando reporter from NBC. He was directly asked if he would support the results of the midterm elections.
If Republicans lose control of Congress. Will you trust the results of the midterms if Republicans lose control of Congress?
I will, if the elections are honest. Look, I want the last one that wants to complain. I just had a great election. They say one of the greatest elections.
Who is they? Who is they? They say. Who is they? This guy always quotes they. Because stupid people assume he's talking about really fancy friends that he has that they don't know about because we're stupid. So when a guy in a fancy suit who's a billionaire says they, he must be talking about people way more important than us. That's a fucking manipulation. People are saying. Nobody is saying. You're just saying it. And you don't want to seem like you're the only one saying it. So you say people are saying. It's a manipulation, you fucking con man.
You will agree, ever won all 7 swing states. Won 84% of the counties in America. That's why the map is all red. We just had a great election. I believe.
He won the counties. He lost all the big cities. You barely eked by in this one, man. And you were going against a woman that everybody hated. You barely won against a woman that everybody hated. You were hated just a little bit less.
There was cheating. I think there was cheating.
Well, speaking of counties, what are you doing in Fulton County? Speaking of counties, what is happening? Will you?
All right, so here, one more time, I want to play just the very beginning, because here's the problem, and this is what he always does. Right now, we are months away from this being something that actually people need to get tizzied up about, at least in so far as the way Trump sees it, because it's not until November of next year. So right now, he's going to say whatever he needs to say to get through this moment. That's what a salesperson does.
You trust the results of the midterms if Republicans lose control of Congress?
Will you trust the results if Republicans lose control, Mr. President?
I will, if the elections are honest. Look.
If the elections are honest, of course I will. If the elections are honest, who is determining whether they are honest or not? Because we, Mr. President, the American people, your humble servants, don't think you're the guy for that job. You are not the guy for that job. And this goes back to what we talked about yesterday with this idea that he's floating. He starts to float it as a balloon, and then it gets some kind of negative reaction, and he says, well, we don't know we're doing that. And then 6 months later, they do exactly that. It's the normalization of absurd. I can't. It is the normalization of these absurd notions that are so fundamentally anti-American that this guy does time and time again. Nationalizing the elections. Once again, nationalizing the elections mean you vote, you put all your votes in a bag, and then some men from the federal government come and take your big bag of votes back to Washington where they count the votes, and then they tell you how you voted. That is what this son of a bitch is proposing. Why? Because he doesn't think the elections are honest. But him and Stephen Miller and Steve Bannon, those honest guys, they're going to count the votes for us. If they're honest, he will support the results of the election if they are honest. I can't with this guy. He's got to be gone before the midterms. JD, let's go, man. I told you the only way that this could be saved for the Republicans, or I don't even know if the Republicans can be saved, but I told you this, JD Vance, he's the guy. He's got to somehow create some kind of situation where he can pull a 25th with the cabinet. He becomes president. Like I said, this needs to be done in the summer. Think about how Biden dropped out. They gave Kamala Harris just enough time to be the person that people could get excited about, but not enough time for her to be fully branded as the idiot that she appears to be. That's what they will do again with JD Vance. They will create some kind of end to the madness. JD Vance will ascend. They will tell the nation that everything has been stabilized and we're sorry about all that shit with the other guy. And they're then going to hope that this is going to be enough to, again, get the Republicans and conservatives out to vote because people are staying home. The independents are staying home. We saw that in Texas last weekend. The people who are on the fence, the people who were convinced to vote for Trump a second time, give him a second shot at that, those people were lied to, and they are no longer something that Trump can count on. Those are the people that they need to focus on getting back. And J.D. Vance pulling a 25th, getting rid of all of this nonsense, could get them back in time for the midterms. That's their only play. Trump's plan is to send troops in. Trump's plan is to try and nationalize the elections. Trump's plan after the midterms and everybody gets swept out. Trump's plan is to create so much chaos, just like he did on January 6th, that he'll be able to declare national war, national martial law and become some kind of fucking dictator. That is probably what's in his head. Is it madness? Yeah. Is it going to happen? I don't know. You can't put anything past this guy. He's blowing up NATO and threatening to invade Canada. You can't put anything past him. So stop acting like I'm freaking out. I've been saying these kinds of things for years and years. This motherfucker has never disappointed. This guy does the worst possible option every single time. By the way, now he's saying that maybe they went a little hard in Minneapolis. Yeah, he also said that in this interview with NBC. I think we went a little bit hard. 3,000 troops were initially deployed. ICE agents were initially deployed to Minneapolis. And now I think we're down to 2,000. So, what's going on, Trump? You admitting you were wrong? Oh, my God. He's like, I'm sorry. It's like, I'm sorry. We're going to draw down troops. By the way, whatever happened to Bavino? Where's that guy been? Why isn't there like a team of journalists following that dude around? Don't we want to know what Bavino's getting into? What do you think Bavino's doing right now? I bet he's on a couch watching daytime TV, eating a pint of ice cream with a spoon. I bet that's what he's doing. He's in a bathrobe. He's got fucking boxer shorts on, no shirt, like military dog tags, and a bathrobe that's half open. Some funky ranch house in Southern California. You walk in, there's like a coat rack, and just hanging right there is that like fucking Nazi Himmler jacket that he wore. I need to see a live feed of what Bavino is doing today. Right now at 1, it's 11:04 where he is in California. Let's see here. Barney says JD should pull the 25th, then not run, let Rubio run. Well, I think that there's a lot of people that would be certainly better with Rubio than with JD. But JD's not going to pull this and then not run. There is no way. JD thinks that he can be the unifying figure, I believe. Well, if he pulls the 25, I think that he thinks that he can go back to being the JD who was promoting that movie he made like 12 years ago. Remember he was promoting the movie and he was going on all the news shows and he seemed like a fairly decent, thoughtful guy who came from this region, who had gotten out and who had accomplished things, right? That's what we liked about JD. Then he got the opportunity to switch sides, and he did. So what we know about JD is that he can't be trusted, but there is something in him. There is something in him that is salvageable, but he can't be trusted. You can't trust him. He wants the power. But that's honestly it. That is truly. Maddie says Rubio is a snake too. Rubio is don't love him. What are we dealing with here, Maddie? What are we dealing? We're dealing with a bunch of apples that are bruised, and some of them have gone completely bad. We're just trying to salvage enough to make an apple pie. That's all. And honestly, of all of these clowns, I think Rubio is like the most normal, although, he's compromised himself, certainly, but I think Rubio expects to be around for the next 60 years of American politics, and he's probably just biding his time. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? So that was the Trump interview. Don't need to go on with any more of that. We can get out of there. What else do we have here? Bitcoin apparently. Any big Bitcoiners out there? I'm not a Bitcoin guy. I don't know what Bitcoin is. I got some Bitcoin. It just sits there. Every once in a while, I get an alert that says, ooh, Bitcoin roundup or something like that. I don't even know what I got. It's probably nothing today, though, because Bitcoin is imploding. Bitcoin drops below 67,000 as sell-off intensifies and pessimism grows about crypto's function. Says here, it's the first time that Bitcoin has fallen below 67,000. Here's why it's important. Bitcoin, if you look at this the way, look, I don't understand the stock market either. And by the way, I think that's tanking today. I think the Dow Jones was down like 500 before we signed on. I saw gas prices went up. Yeah, we're down 500. The Dow Jones is down 500. Gas prices are going up, and Bitcoin is completely in the fucking toilet. So, keep telling me about how great the economy is. Bitcoin in October was at 123,000. In October, 123,000. Today it's at 67. It's below 67,000. It has been halved. I don't know what's happened. Apparently people don't believe in Bitcoin anymore. I don't know what the difference between Bitcoin is and I don't know. I don't know what crypto. I have no idea what cryptocurrency is. Hell, I have barely a concept of what fiat currency is. Bitcoin sank below 67,000 on Thursday as investor confidence continued to falter in the asset once hailed as digital gold and a unique store of value. Digital assets, including Bitcoin, have fallen deeper into the red as investors reassess the practical utility of a token that has been championed not only as a hedge against inflation and macroeconomics, but also as an alternative to traditional currencies and better than gold. All right, whatever. Yeah, okay, so I don't know if you got Bitcoin, you're going through it. Love you guys. Oh, by the way, you can send Bitcoin if you're trying to get rid of it. Just send it to my Cash App. I think the Cash App accepts the Bitcoin. Billy's got a good way of looking at things. This is the optimistic investor. Look at Billy. Billy Boy's like, great buying opportunity for Bitcoin. And the cycle renews. What do they say? You got to ride the dips. Got to surf the waves and ride the dips. I don't know anything about that. I wish y'all luck. I do want to mention, though, this show does run on your gratuities, and we are deep in the middle of a relatively unsuccessful pledge week. We're trying to raise the money for this month, so drop a little something if you can in the Cash App or the Venmo. You can find that right down there, scrolling the entire show. We like to award the title of executive producer to the person who tips the best on the previous day's show, and we have an executive producer today. It is, once again, Peter the Great. Peter the Great is our executive producer. You can be like Peter. You can be great. All you got to do is drop a little something in the Venmo, which you see scrolling right there, Pugs Moran, or on Cash App, Pugs Cast. There you go. So thank you to Peter, who's going to be tomorrow's executive producer. If you are interested in supporting this kind of show, there you go. I'll leave this up. You drop a little something in the Venmo, drop a little something in the Cash App. We are trying to get ahead. When we move, like I said, when we moved here a couple of months ago, we were really behind the 8 ball. And then we had Christmas and it was, behind the 8 ball. And I was late on bills in December, late on bills in January. We've got to try and play a little catch up. So one more time, I'm asking you people to dig deep, drop a little something, and then I'll shut up about tips for 3 weeks. Okay? But if you can help out, now would be the time. Drop a little something, keep this show going, because it is already the 5th day of February and not a damn bill has been paid. All right, let's get back into what we're talking about. Bitcoin's in trouble. Let's do some Texas politics, since a lot of this show is geared towards our friends down there in Texas. I am doing it from the south side of Chicago, but I'm a Texan in heart. I spent a good time there, good amount of time. I consider it my home. My son is there. As long as my son is there, I consider it my home. So let's talk a little bit about what we're dealing with there in Texas. The politics, it's bubbling over on both sides. The normally quiet and ineffective Democrats seem to be making some waves in their race. We talked about the issue going on between James Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett, two people who are trying to get the Democratic nomination for senator there in the state so that they can go up against either John Cornyn or maybe Paxton or whatever. I don't even know what's going on there. Anyway, Cornyn's been the senator from one of the senators. Seriously, Texas, you got some shitty senators, man. You got some really bad ones. Like the worst. Cornyn is just the quintessential, daddy Warbucks who has been milking the fucking system to make himself rich. Isn't Cornyn like a Highland Park guy? I think he lives in Highland Park in a big old mansion. Hey, you're a senator. How do you afford a $15 million mansion? Well, I've been a senator for 50 years. Yeah, that doesn't help. That's not why. You should not be living in a mansion like that, Cornyn, unless he's the typical Republican politician. But by that, I mean the typical Republican politician. And you can look at, and there are some exceptions. I'm not saying it's completely across the board. But if you look at like all of the people who are Republicans in the Congress and in the Senate, and then go to their Wikipedia page and read the early life section, all of the Republicans run daddy's boys. The Republicans run kids that come from fucking country club culture. Not entirely. There are some, self-made Republicans out there, and they're great. But on the whole, if you look at they're all Matt Gaetz types. They're all not all of them, but most of them. Well, Cornyn is one of those guys. Cornyn's a money guy. He comes from money. He's got money. He's had money. He's got more money now. And he's been, senator there in Texas our whole lives, right? I mean, at least 20 years. Cornyn's been there at least, I don't know how long. Anyway, Ken Paxton, who is a truly despicable human being, he is actually running against Cornyn, and he seems to think that he's going to win. Now, yesterday I told you about the problems between the Democrats. I told you about Crockett and Tallarico and how they roped in Colin Allred. Speaking of people who ran from Senate, that's how we know Colin Allred. He ran for Senate a couple of years ago, got mollywopped, as we like to say around here, or maybe waylaid. What were some of the words that we used yesterday? I love mollywop, though. That's a good one. Anyway, Colin Allred claimed that James Tallarico called him a mediocre black man. Well, I got no comment on that. What do you want? Colin Allred seemed kind of. Anyway, so there was a bit of a kerfuffle. That's another good word, kerfuffle. So there was a kerfuffle there on the Democratic side, but now we got shit going on between the Republicans. They don't want to be left out of the fun. So here's a little exchange that we saw yesterday. This was on the Twitter box. Let me show it to you. Kind of like it. I don't know who won. We got to decide who won this exchange. Actually, I think that's pretty clear. All right, here you go. So the original post is this one right here. This came from Attorney General of the great state of Texas, Ken Paxton. He is, of course, running against John Cornyn. He says, John Cornyn's career is done, and everyone knows it. Yeah, okay, Sleepy Eye. Sleepy Eye Paxton out there. Oh, he's done. I think you're done, dude. Cornyn's career is done, and everyone knows it, says Attorney General Ken Paxton. He's stolen 50+ million from races in North Carolina, Maine, and Michigan, and Georgia. And what does he have to show for it? He's stuck in the mid-20s, doesn't even know if he'll make the runoff, and is set to lose by huge margins, even if he does. Some establishment Republicans worry that no matter his financial advantage, he will be a serious underdog against Mr. Paxton. He's writing about himself. He will be a serious underdog against me in the runoff. And the donors' money would be better spent helping Republicans like Senator Susan Collins of May in the fall. All right, so Paxton's complaint is that Cornyn has the establishment GOP sending money to help fund his campaign against Ken Paxton. Ken Paxton is complaining that money that the GOP is sending to Cornyn could be better used helping helping other GOP senators defend more serious threats from Democrats. That's what Paxton is saying, Okay. So Paxton, once again, Cornyn's career is done and everyone knows it. He's stolen $50 million from races in North Carolina, Maine, and Michigan, and Georgia. And what does he have to show for it? He's stuck in the mid-20s, doesn't even know if he'll make the runoff, and is set to lose by a huge margin. Ken Paxton on his opponent, John Cornyn. Here's what Cornyn had to say in response, which I thought was pretty good. Gloves are off. Team Cornyn says, Ken, when this is over, you will have nothing, which turns out to be the same thing you offered to give Angela in divorce proceedings. This after you cheated on her multiple times. Woo! Woo! I love it. Yeah, Angela Paxton, of course, she's a state rep there in Texas. She is the former wife of Attorney General Ken Paxton. And Ken Paxton was involved in a little sleazy, right? Wasn't there waitresses involved and Uber rides and sex with young girls and all that? And of course, that was greatly humiliating to Ken Paxton all way back like 6 months ago when people said his political career was over. But that was way back 6 months ago and nobody remembers that shit. So apparently he's back. And look at Cornyn. Cornyn just reminding everybody, Ken, when this is over, you will have nothing. What turns out to be the same thing you offered to give Angela in divorce proceedings. This after you cheated on her multiple times. Woo! Got to enjoy that. Texas politics heating up, getting fun. Ken Paxton is a despicable human being. Again, I've got to lean on, well, actually, I mean, I know quite a bit about him, but just looking at him, once again, my ability to just look at someone and go, that fucker's a con man, unimpeachable. My gaydar was incredible. Before the left made me put my gaydar away, I used to have great gaydar. Like dudes who were totally not gay-like, I could look at and go, that dude's gay. I didn't cast any judgment. I don't care. I'm just telling you, I can tell. Did you know Murray was gay? In fact, I did. I've known it since the first time we met Murray. Why are you so slow to the party? Not saying Ken Paxton's gay. What I'm saying is he's a con man. And that's my other great ability, is to be able to tell when somebody's full of shit or not. I'm a great judge of people. Always have been. Come on, you can't even look at him. I know the sleepy eye is bad, but it's also perfect. It makes it easier for you to look at Ken Paxton and go, there's something wrong with that guy. Maybe I should go with my gut. And John Cornyn's terrible too, but I don't think John Cornyn's as bad as Ken Paxton. I'm just going to go with that. Why? Because John Cornyn has been senator forever. And the state ain't burned down, right? Okay, he's just a fucking typical bought and paid for special interest old school conservative Republican from Texas. That's what John Cornyn is. And we know what that is. And we've had years of being able to deal with that. Ken Paxton's fucking nuts. Ken Paxton is like the wheels off Republican. You know, the far crazy left or righties. That's who he is. All right. Now let's talk about another race there. Another Republican race in Texas, because this one is, this one I don't get. And this one we really need to talk about because, you guys need to look in the mirror. Now, I'm not saying, look, if you're a Texas Republican voter, you need to listen to this story and then you need to look in the mirror and you need to ask yourself, what do these people think of me? Because this is absolutely absurd. It concerns the Sham Wow guy. Remember Vince, the Sham Wow guy? Well, he's running. He is running for office in Texas. And if you're wondering, I didn't even know he was from Texas. He's not. Well, I didn't even know that he lived in Texas. He don't. He's just someone that people know. And by the way, who knows? I guess everybody knows him, but let's talk about the people who would trust the Sham Wow guy. It's somebody watching TV at 4:00 in the morning going, I'm going to buy the Chopmaster. Idiots. He's got a high profile with fucking idiots. And that's apparently what Republicans down there in Texas think is winnable. Now, he's going against a guy, John Carter, who has been a Republican. Again, this is another one of these guys who's kind of like in the John Cornyn camp. Classic, old school, Texas, Jesus-fearing, fancy suit wearing, special interest loving Texas politician, Texas Republican politician. That's who this guy is. But Vince is super crazy MAGA. Vince is running on the whole, let's get rid of the woke old man. It's like, he's like John Carter, who's like an 80-year-old Christian Republican conservative from Central Texas. John Carter is now woke in the eyes of the ShamWow guy. ShamWow guy is running for the 11th. It's the Texas 11th. It's like Killeen and Temple. It's south of Dallas-Fort Worth, north of Austin and San Antonio. I think that Temple is maybe the big city. I don't know. Anyway, he launched his first commercial. Here, let's see this. Let's watch this commercial. You remember Vince, the ShamWow guy? If you don't remember him from his commercials, maybe you remember.
Hey, it's Vince.
Hold on. Maybe you remember him from the time that he was arrested in a Florida hotel room with a prostitute and drugs in a fucked up mouth. Yeah, he got arrested a bunch of years ago. He was with a prostitute in a hotel room in Florida, and they were doing drugs and they were partying. And apparently the prostitute, while they were making out, bit into Vince ShamWow's tongue and wouldn't let go. Like that tongue, and she bit his tongue and wouldn't let go. So Vince knocked her the fuck out. He just like popped her, and the police came. And when the police showed up, his mouth was bleeding because his tongue was bleeding, and there was drugs and a prostitute, and Vince the ShamWow guy standing there going, what did I do? So that's who this guy is. Maybe you remember. And he's now running for the Texas 11th. Here is his first campaign commercial. Let's see how he's presenting himself to the, we got to share it. Let's see how he's presenting himself to the fine folks of Texas. Because remember, they respect you. They don't think you're a fucking idiot offering you this guy, Texas Republicans. And again, I do need to be clear about this. This is the MAGA wing of Texas Republicans. The actual established Texas GOP, they're supporting John Carter, just as the official seems to be supporting right now. The national GOP seems to be supporting Cornyn, right? So this is the MAGA wing that is getting behind this guy. The special interests that have backed Vince ShamWow guy's campaign think that you people will vote for him because you know him. He's the ShamWow guy. He doesn't live in Texas. He has never lived in Texas. I don't even think he's from here. He's an Israeli citizen. He was born in Israel. He was raised in the Bronx. He then moved to Miami. And then after Miami, moved to Los Angeles. And now he's running for Congress from rural Texas. Okay? This is what they think of you. Here you go.
Hey, it's Vince. I'm running for Congress against this guy. Stop having a politician that's worse than Biden. That's discretionary funding. Instead, vote for me, a guy who's not half dead. I'm gonna soak up the swamp, clean the house, and pick up those liberal tears at the same time. I'm gonna slap chop the nuts out of the woke, making less blue-haired commies and more red-blooded Americans. Vote for me so I can represent you and the ones that can't stand up for themselves.
Vote for ShamWow!
Paid for by Offer Bid ShamWow Slogans for Congress.
All right, there you go. That's what they think of you, man. Did you hear all the fucking boxes that he checked? Woke said that. Biden, slam on Biden said that. Liberal tears. Oh boy, that's going to appeal to the people that are going to vote for him because he's a Texan just like us. You understand that a representative democracy is contingent on the idea that the person that you elect to represent you in this democracy is from where you live and can then share your collective community views on things and represent you and your state of mind in Washington, D.C. That is the purpose of a representative democracy. But there are people out there, and the MAGA Republicans there in Central Texas have done this. Sometimes they'll just fly a fucking celebrity in because they think you people are dumb enough to vote for him. That is what's happening with this guy. Let's see here. We got an NBC story. Maybe this will go into some of the... Look at the picture of him. Just look at the picture. This is who they think... Guys, again, I'm a fucking fantastic judge of character. I can tell a piece of shit when I see one, and this is the piece of shit that they think you people are dumb enough to vote into the Texas delegation in the United States Congress. Look at this fucking guy. You guys, look at him. He doesn't look trustworthy. Good Lord. All right, so let me give you some story. This is the NBC story about ShamWow guy's campaign. His name is and we should just call him ShamWow guy, but his name is Offer Shlomi. Yeah, very, very American, very Texas, very Killeen, Texas kind of a name. Did you guys hear that? I just opened my mouth. And that was... All right. Dude's name is Offer Vince Shlomi, the once prominent infomercial pitchman, filed paperwork with the Texas Republican Party to run for the seat held by Republican John Carter. John Carter. It's a heroic name. The ShamWow guy is running for Congress and is looking to wipe the floor with the competition. Ha! Offer Shlomi, known as Vince, the ShamWow guy, the once prominent infomercial pitchman, is running for Congress in Texas. Shlomi is running for the seat held by Republican Rep. John Carter, who is 84 years old, who has served more than 2 decades in Congress. Carter announced earlier this month that he'd run for re-election. So Shlomi has an uphill battle against an entrenched incumbent. The former pitchman, best known for his role selling the ShamWow towel, told Fox News that he wants to destroy wokeism. You're too late to the party, Vince. You're too late to the fucking party. This would have been something that would have gotten you elected. I don't know, man. 6 years ago, maybe this worked 6 years ago, but aren't we all just tired of people promising to end wokeism? Aren't we all fucking tired of people promising to drain the swamp? Stop it. All right. We're tired of this shit, dude. You're too late. Vince, the ShamWow guy. There you go. His Wikipedia page is pretty interesting. Let's see what his Wikipedia page says about him. Vince ShamWow. I don't even know what to call him. Yep, there it goes. Comes up. You just put Vince ShamWow. Offer Shlomi, known as Vince, also known as Vince Offer, is an Israeli-American infomercial pitchman, screenwriter, actor, director, and political candidate. Sounds just perfect for Central Texas, doesn't it? Central rural Texas, the 11th. Oh, yeah. Israeli-American infomercial pitchman. Hey, that sounds like someone we should run in Killeen. Early life. Offer Shlomi was born in Beersheba, Israel. His family immigrated to the United States when he was a child, and he grew up in Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn, New York. Offer, he dropped out of high school at the age of 17 and moved to Los Angeles. He began going by the name of Vince Offer in 1986 and started appearing in public access commercials. Holy shit, dude. Can I tell you something? I just realized this. Hold on. Let me make sure. He's 61 years old. Vince, the ShamWow guy. Did you think he was a kid? Like, I don't know. I thought he was like 10 years younger than me, not 10 years older than me. 61? All right. Oh, hold on. Oh, can't tell you how much I hate Restream. Whatever. Thank you, Bill. Great bio. We got to talk to Maddie. Yeah, we're going to talk to Maddie here in a minute. Sorry, we're already a half hour late to talk to Maddie because things get away from us. We got Melania. Melania did a thing yesterday she's being criticized for. She's still out there promoting her movie. So she did a thing at the White House yesterday where apparently she invited a bunch of hostages. I don't even know what this is about, but it's one of them first lady things where hostages come for tea. And apparently Melania started promoting her movie and she got called on it. And somebody's like, is it proper for you to promote this movie while you're meeting with hostages and welcoming them to the White House and all of that stuff? And I think she was okay with it. Here, let's watch. Here is Melania being questioned about the appropriateness of her promoting her movie. Oh, God, I got so many windows open. Here, let's listen.
To use an official White House event.
Why do you feel it is appropriate to use an official White House event to promote your documentary?
This is not promotion. We are here celebrating the
Do
release of the hostages of
It's not-
Eva and Pete. They
Can't
were
pause
in Washington, D.C., and they called me. They said they would like to come over to thank me and to give hugs, and that's why we are here. It's nothing to do with promotion.
It's nothing to do with promoting of the movie. It's nothing. It's coincidence I'm wearing same outfit on poster for movie. She's wearing the same thing. She is intentionally wearing the exact same outfit that she wears on the cover. She doesn't wear the same outfit. Melania doesn't accidentally wear the same thing. She has a team of people who dress her specifically for the room. And she was greeting hostages, and they put her in the outfit that she wears on the cover of the movie poster. The movie is bombing. The movie did $8 million in its first 6 days. That is not great. That's where they're stuck at. They're stuck at 8 million. Movies do not pick up in the second week. Well, unless it's great word of mouth. This movie does not have great word of mouth. It cost anywhere from 40 million for the actual promotion or actual creation production of the movie, and then like an additional 70 million went into promotion by Amazon. There is no way this movie is going to be anything other than a massive financial bomb and critical failure. So she's pushing. And she decides that she's going to use this opportunity where they're going to bring some hostages in, and she's going to start promoting the fucking movie in hopes that people will go see it this weekend when they won't. It's a dumb fucking propaganda infomercial. But, you know, she is hot, so she does look good. I mean, she really does look good. I'm looking at the first lady right here. I still don't think it's cool that I've seen the first lady of the United States naked. I'm uncomfortable with that. But if you got to see a first lady of the United States naked, better Melania than, say, you know, Lady Bird Johnson. Just putting it out there for when you know, you know. All right, let's see here. What else do we have? We're going to get into... Yikes. All right, here's what we're going to do here, guys. I'm sorry, Maddie, please. I know you told me you don't have a lot going on today. You got all your work done earlier, so you're okay. I know you're okay. So I need to take a quick break here. I'm going to refresh my tea. That's right, I'm drinking tea. How about this cold? I feel a lot better today. I think things are looking up. This is good. I didn't take any of the weird, you know, stuff that I think is basically just over-the-counter methamphetamine that screwed up the last couple of shows that I've done here, so I'm feeling better. But please allow me now to take a quick break. I need to run to the bathroom. I'm going to refix my tea, and we'll be back with more. I'm going to talk about the Clintons. They've been called to testify in front of Comer's little committee into the Epstein files. Bill and Hillary both said that they're going to testify. They want one thing to be assured, though, and that is they want it to be live. They want it to be live, and they want it to be public, and they are looking forward to testifying. Woo! Some people are freaked out by that, so we'll talk about that, and then we'll get Maddie on. Maddie's got a whole bunch of Epstein stuff, man. I've been sick. Like I told you, I spent the weekend just like neck deep in the most awful details from the Department of Justice release of the Epstein files on Friday. And then I got sick, and then I just couldn't handle it. So don't worry, Maddie's on it. So she's going to present to us her Epstein findings, which is going to be interesting. Plus we got a whole bunch more. Just give me a quick break here, okay? I'll be right back. One more time, I want to thank our executive producer of today's show. It is Peter the Great. Peter the Great dropped the biggest tip yesterday. Doesn't take a lot to be the executive producer, but we do appreciate that Peter the Great was there to be the guy. He tipped twice yesterday. He tipped an amount, and then he tipped another amount, and wow. So thank you, Peter. If you want to be tomorrow's executive producer, all you got to do is be today's big tipper. You do that by just dropping something there in the Venmo or the Cash App, and you ensure that this kind of talk radio, daily talk radio, every day at noon since 2021, opposition talk, in a time where the opposition needs to be heard from, will continue for another month. So drop a little something, support the show. I'm going to take a break. I'll be right back. Just give me, you know how this works. This is like less than a commercial break. you listen to your favorite radio stations, they play a commercial, right? It's probably like a 6-7 minute commercial break. Won't be that long. I'll be right back. All right, we're back. All right, couple of things. Let's see. In the chat room, I was seeing a couple of comments that I want to mention. Maddie says, this is a really interesting. We were talking about Vince, the ShamWow guy, and how he has decided he's going to run as a far-right MAGA Republican for the Texas 11th. That's an area of Central Texas, Killeen Temple, that area down there. He is going to run against a long-standing Republican congressman named John Carter, and we're wondering why exactly Vince, the ShamWow guy, thinks he can run for Congress in Texas because he doesn't live in Texas. Does he have an apartment? Like, how is this world? Like, how? Right? I mean, you can't just run for some. I don't understand why he chose the 11th. He has never lived in Texas. He is born in Israel, raised in Brooklyn, moved to Los Angeles as a high school dropout, then to Miami. He has never lived in Texas, but he's running for the 11th. Maddie has a great reason as to why. Why the hell do you think he's running in Texas? She says maybe he chose that district based on ShamWow sales and thinks he has enough support. Do Central Texans buy a lot of ShamWows? That is a really good, I don't know. I know they make a lot of messes. I know that's probably a group of people who are constantly knocking shit over. So I don't know, but yeah, that's interesting. That might be it. I wouldn't put that past them. That's very strategic. And I don't think Vince is dumb. I just think he's morally bankrupt, right? Barney's in the chat room. Barney seems to think that right after Trump passes away, God forbid, that I'll be sliding into Melania's DMs. Look. Melania Trump is hot as fuck, man. That can't be denied. People that still hold on to this, she's no Jackie. She is so much hotter than Jackie Kennedy. Jackie Kennedy wasn't even that hot. The thing about Jackie Kennedy that made her so legendary is that she was the very first. And there hadn't really been any since. Maybe Michelle and definitely Melania. But she was the first lady that people went, I'd do her. Nobody was doing that with Mamie Eisenhower. And nobody did that after her with Lady Bird Johnson. Nobody was like, oh man, Lady Bird's hot. But Jackie Kennedy was somebody that people went, compared to Mamie Eisenhower, she's pretty hot. But not compared to Melania Trump. You know what I mean? Jackie Kennedy is way closer in the Mamie Eisenhower camp than she is the Melania Trump camp. Melania Trump's a fucking supermodel. It's not even close. Jackie is still the most beautiful. Beauty. Is this what we're doing? Beauty? How about bangable? Who's the most bangable first lady? Okay, can we end this stupid conversation by saying Melania Trump is the most bangable first lady? That's true. But as far as me and Melania having a relationship, Barney, I don't think it would work. I don't think it would. I see the relationship between me and Melania not going any further than some kind of a sloppy, drunken hookup. We wouldn't like each other. I don't think, and I know that we wouldn't like each other because she comes from a part of the world where I have some experience with some women from that part of the world, and I don't like them. I don't. There's not that I don't like them because of their ethnicity or anything. It's just, all right, here's the story. So years ago, like 30 years ago, Ed, Mr. Ed, Radio Misfits, our guy, Ed and some other people, Mr. Skin. Remember Mr. Skin? Mr. Skin, Ed and Skin, and who else? I don't know, some other people. It was in the early days of internet and porn and all of that. And they were like, let's create a site. Basically like OnlyFans, where, they would have rooms and there would be girls in these rooms and these girls were strippers or whatever. And that they would then, I don't know. It was 1997 or something. I don't know, whatever. Today we'd know it as OnlyFans, but it was like one of the early of those operations. And I ended up being like the manager, the night manager, whenever this shit was going on. I was the dude who was there on premise with all of these rooms. Anyway, a number of these girls were Eastern European girls. Maybe you should ask Ed about that. Ed, how did you tap into so many Eastern European girls? There was one girl there who I became particularly friendly with, not sexual or romantically, but just like, she was the only one I could talk to. She was kind of cool, right? So anyway, she might have been the only one there, now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway, we would talk. Like, this was the early days of it. The early days. So she wasn't constantly online with people. She'd be like sitting around for hours at a time. And there was a TV and we were watching TV. I remember watching Survivor with her. This was a girl who was born in like Czechoslovakia or somewhere awful, somewhere conquered, somewhere the communists conquered. And she was beautiful. She was absolutely beautiful, but she shaved her head. Now, this is like 1996. She shaved her head. So when she would perform and all of that, she wore wigs and stuff, and she was just gorgeous. But when she was just hanging around, she had a bald head. She's just like, we're watching TV. She's microwaving lean cuisines, and we're watching TV, and she's got a bald head. Anyway, we just started talking, and I got to know her, and I realized that, oh my God, because of her experiences where she grew up, she and I, there is nothing. She told me a story here. She told me a story about how she was sitting in her classroom and watched her older brother get run over by a tank in the playground of the school she was attending. She's like, yeah, I saw him. I was watching him. He was out there, and then the tanks rolled through, and then I saw him go under the tank, and I'm like, what the fuck? So, I'm thinking, gee, I wonder what a person has to go through to do this for a living, where they're willing to like get naked on a video screen that kind of childhood experience, when you're offered an opportunity to get the fuck out of there and all you got to do is be naked on TV. Now that I think about it, was Ed running a sex trafficking ring in the 90s? Ed, where are you? Ed, starting to sound like a sex trafficking ring. She just answered an ad. That's how she answered an ad. That's how she became not involved in any Eastern European sex trafficking. But I mean, these people, they just have a different way of looking at the world because of their experiences as children. This goes back to what I always say about us here in America. We're lazy, we're fat. We have never sat in a classroom and watched our older brother be run over by another country's tank on the basketball courts at our school. That's a whole different thing. So when you come here, you got a different kind of attitude. So when we talk about Melania, I don't know that I'd be able to connect to her because I think that she has a completely different view of the world than me. So unfortunately, Milana, we will not be having a relationship, but I am still down for a sloppy, drunken hookup at your convenience after your husband passes away from natural causes because he's super fucking old and terribly out of shape. All right, now more First Lady stuff. Let's talk about more First Lady stuff. Let's talk about a completely different kind of First Lady, the kind of First Lady that's not bangable at all, at least not by anybody's modern estimation, Hillary Clinton. Let's talk about Hillary. Oh, yeah. That's a dog whistle to some people. Hillary, she's like a bad word. Haven't said Hillary Clinton in quite some time. Hillary Clinton. I can still pronounce it. I can still say her name. She's back in the news. Why? Because James Comer, who is one of these nonsense Congress people who... moving forward, we'll never have any credibility again. But Comer's got this Epstein investigation. It's the Republican wing of the Epstein investigation because the Republicans want to be taken seriously, and we're going to look into this Epstein thing. And they've called for a whole bunch of people to be trotted out in front of his subcommittee and testify openly about the Epstein thing. He's been for months now threatening that they're going to subpoena the Clintons, they're going to subpoena Bill Gates, they're going to subpoena all of these people. Larry Summers, they're going to anybody that is not a Republican or a friend of Donald Trump has been threatened to be subpoenaed by the Comer Group. So that's what's happening. And the other day, after the hubbub on Friday of last week of the big massive dump, the tranche that was just thrown out there of all of this stuff, Comer's now made it official, and Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton have both been called, subpoenaed, and if they don't show up, we will hold them in contempt, which is exactly what he was counting on. James Comer was counting on the Clintons refusing to testify because then he could talk about what are they hiding, and we will now convict them in Congress of ignoring a subpoena, and win, win, win. And look at how bad the Clintons are. What's this now? They said they're going to show up. Oh, Hillary wants to go first. Oh, Hillary's going first and it's got to be public? Yeah, that's what we got now. The Clintons fucking freaked them out by saying, yeah, we'll show up. They didn't even push back. They like immediately sent out a press release saying, yeah, we'd love to show up. We have one condition. It's got to be public and it's got to be on live TV. Woo! Because let me tell you something. And Hillary's going first. Hillary will go one day, and then the next day, Bill Clinton will come. Now, I don't know that we have the day on this. Wait a second. Let me see if there's any kind of an update. I don't know that it's been scheduled because the Republicans now are freaking the fuck out because they don't want a pissed off Hillary Clinton who, despite everything that you've been told about Hillary Clinton, now here's the big trick for you. You're going to have to wrap your mind around this because it's the fucking truth. Hillary Clinton ain't an idiot. Hillary Clinton is one of the sharpest motherfuckers that Washington has ever known, and everybody that sits on that committee knows that they don't measure up to Hillary fucking Clinton. Hillary Clinton is going to sit there. She's going to start talking about people. She's going to say shit about Trump. It's going to be messy. There's going to be headlines and sound bites, and Comer's going to have to take angry phone calls from Donald Trump in the middle of the night, who's going to be screaming about how he allowed them to say this stuff. And it's all going to be public. It is going to be a ratings bonanza. This is the fun that we want. They don't want this. They don't actually want the Clintons cooperating. Bill going the second day, I don't know what that's going to be. But if you think for 1 minute that Hillary Clinton at this stage of her career is going to fall on the sword for her philandering husband, you are out of your mind. And that is why I think she wants to go first. She is going to scorch earth everything. She is going to damage all of the shit that they are going to try and throw at Clinton by testifying publicly about all of the bullshit these people don't want talked about. That's what they're afraid of. I'll tell you something else they're really afraid of, and this needs to be taken even more seriously by President Trump. The whole Clinton thing and what they're going to say, or not Bill necessarily, but what Hillary wants to say and why she wants to go first, that's a domestic issue. That's a domestic issue that can be, handled with a couple Nick Fuentes podcasts or Benny Johnson offering an alternative view of what, he can handle that domestically. The problem is overseas. The problem is that multiple European nations who now find themselves on the outside looking in, Trump and America and all that, remember, because he kicked all the Europeans out. There are a number of European countries whose dignitaries and ambassadors and all of that have been named in this latest Epstein dump. And guess what? They're now doing investigations. England is opening an investigation. France is opening an investigation. Italy is opening an investigation. Germany is opening an investigation. These are all investigations into the Epstein mess that are going to have access to all the same stuff, and they're not going to redact it because they ain't going to be protecting anybody. That's what Trump ought to be concerned about. Trump ought to be fucking. Now what's going to happen is we're going to get into this thing where the United States government isn't going to be sharing this stuff with other governments, even though their legal system demands it. It's going to be one of that. But we will get far more information about the people involved in the whole Epstein situation, the thing that we are all so desperate for. We will get that from the European nations because 1, they're fucking pissed. 2, they hate Donald Trump. And 3, they want to look good. They want to look good. And you can only look good after years and years of the United States government actively conspiring to cover this up. They can look good by being the nations that stood up for children. That's how this is all going to shake out. That's real dangerous. All right, let's get Maddie on the phone. Maddie's got a whole bunch of Epstein things that she wants to talk about. Maddie joins us from time to time. She's got smoke that she needs to withdraw, that she needs to blow out. Let's talk to Maddie. Hold on, here we go. Hopefully this will work. It's not calling. Phone's not working. That's fun. Are you there? Oh, hold on. I got to bring you up. We do this every time. Are you there?
I am here.
There she is, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for our bi-weekly segment. What's on Maddie's mind? Maybe a daily thing. Who knows, Maddie? What's on your mind? We're talking Epstein. Now, I know you've been neck deep in this, and I've been sick, so catch me up.
Yeah, well, and so to address your previous comments about Hillary and Bill, that's going to be on February 26th and 27th, and Hillary's on the 26th.
She's going first. What do you think of that? What do you think of my theory that she's going first intentionally?
I do. I think that she's clearly going to be the stronger argumenter. I think she's going to be the stronger orator. I agree with you 100% that Hillary is the smarter, more capable debater. She's going to present all of her thoughts and opinions.
Well, she's going, unlike Bill, who will be almost entirely on the defensive, she's going to go on offense.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. She's gonna initiate the first attack, and then I do think that Bill is going to stand up there and do what he normally does, which is deny. He's a good denier. Let's face it. He has sat in front of Congress before and denied any involvement prior, whenever he was in office. He very convincingly lied to everybody about his involvement with Monica Lewinsky. So I think that they very clearly understand what their two roles are, and they are leaning into their strengths.
Let me just, for a little bit of context on how I approach this whole thing, what you just said about him lying about Monica Lewinsky. I don't believe that he lied. I believe those questions should have never been asked. We were at a time in politics where everything shifted. That's when everything shifted. When they started asking asking about blowjobs directly to the president. Are you kidding me? Do you think no other presidents ever did these things? I don't think he lied. I mean, well, he lied. Don't get me wrong. He lied about something he should never have been asked about. That's how I feel about that.
Yes, and I agree. I mean, like, here's the thing: if we are going to criminalize morality, then okay, if that's what that is. But what Bill did, and people are continuously trying to equivocate what Trump did to Bill, because he has pushed this narrative all along about what about the Clintons, what about Bill, what about Bill. But Bill, that woman, that was a consensual relationship. She was not a minor. And although you might cast an eye at the idea that she was an intern, she was in the White House, and it wasn't a good look.
Well, okay.
I could say that.
So you're talking about Monica, right? And I agree with you. That was a consensual relationship. Monica Lewinsky was a young woman. She was a climber. She was working in the White House. She obviously had something going for her, right? You don't just get to work in the White House without checking a whole bunch of boxes before that. So she was a capable and driven and ambitious young woman who saw an opportunity to have an affair, like something out of a romance novel, with a fucking president, and she took it. I don't see that as a major scandal, but we're talking about Epstein, and this is different. I think Bill Clinton is absolutely involved with Epstein. I don't think Hillary is, which is why I'm looking more forward to her.
Yeah, and I mean, well, the involvement with Clinton is undeniable. I mean, there's photographic evidence of his presence in front of in with Epstein, as well as Ghislaine. You know, again, if we're going to use the same argument that Trump has used over and over again, these pictures don't prove much. They prove his attendance. A couple of pictures showed him in a swimming pool. The swimming pool was Epstein, him, and Ghislaine swimming. There's a couple of pictures on an airplane. There's a couple of pictures that we could maybe argue the fact that they look to be in a public setting of some sort at a party. We have seen many of these types of pictures with a multitude of different people, including random famous people that we really don't think are involved in this. I mean, for God's sakes, if you look at the list of implicated people, Lisa Marie Presley's on this list. Do I think Lisa Marie Presley was over there sex trafficking? No.
Hold on. See, now this is where it gets very complicated. Just having your name appear in the Epstein files doesn't mean that you did anything. Famously, a couple of nights ago, Jon Stewart admitted to everybody that his name appeared in the Epstein files. And, you know, a duplicitous individual might run with that and go, Jon Stewart's in the Epstein files. But of course, Jon Stewart appeared in the Epstein files because Jeffrey Epstein was apparently pitching some kind of charity thing and said to somebody, we could get somebody like Jon Stewart to host it. That is not incriminating. That is not. And there are plenty of people that, you know, were mentioned by other people who have nothing to do with this. Bill Clinton is not in that category. Bill Clinton, if we are being honest brokers here and we are calling for all of these people to be put in handcuffs and perp walked, Bill Clinton needs to be one of them as far as I'm concerned. Hillary, no. The fear is, of course, that Hillary is going to look at her husband and goes, he's getting thrown to the wolves. Let's start talking about Donald and what we know. And that, I think, is the fear that Comer and the rest of the committee have when it comes to Hillary. What is she going to say about their leader?
And truly, and that does definitely tie into what's going on in Europe right now. You know, over the last couple of days, we have now seen, just like you said, European countries that are starting to look at this more closely. I find it very interesting that, you know, if we are to understand the narrative that our current sitting president would love to, continues to purport, which is that America, we're the best, we're the biggest, we're the toughest on crime, we're all these things. Well, currently what's happening is it looks like all these other countries are going to clean up our own dirt for us. I guess thank God for somebody willing to do something. But, you know, the people we're going to be looking at the most close in this is going to be Elon Musk, who has now been the French government has invaded his ex-offices over there. Originally, what was said was that this had to do with Grok AI in regards to the Ashley I can't remember what her last name is. But anyway.
Ashley St. Clair, who is one of Elon Musk's baby mamas. was she complained that Grok was actively creating sexualized images of her as a child. That is what is behind the whole Grok is creating child porn thing that we've been hearing about for the last couple of weeks. That was the initial reason for the French raiding the offices of Grok. Is there more to it?
There is. So that came out. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. You brought it up. It seemed like just kind of like an incidental, like, oh, this is interesting, what's going on here moment. However, she has not stopped quieting this push. She came out after that in several additional interviews, podcasts, and things like that she got invited on after that report came out, and has asserted that there has been more pictures where young children, babies and infants that Grok AI has removed clothing of and over-sexualized them. And this is what I would say about the French government. First of all, what we have seen in the last couple of months is that there have been other countries that have started to take a very much more serious interest in how social media and social networking affects the country. Australia is one of them. We saw some interesting legislation come down from them towards the end of the year last year, and now France is on the same bandwagon. So I think that was the reason behind the initial involvement. But today what we saw, I read an article from the French government and the French prime minister saying that they are also looking at implications of political election tampering with regards to X, and that is going to be implicated in the French government. Now, originally what the French government said was, hey, we'd love for you to come over here and talk to us of your own free will. And Elon said, I'm not going to mess with you. Now they're saying, don't you dare set foot in French soil, because we're going to get you.
Yeah, and this is even if they don't. We're talking about the European countries. Even if they're not going to be directly going after Donald Trump, what they are and what they have stated, who they are interested in uncovering, are these billionaires, these American oligarchs, people exactly like Elon Musk. That's who the French government isn't afraid of. That's who the British government isn't afraid of. The American government seems to be very much afraid of Elon Musk. Donald Trump seems to be very much, they got a little fight and then immediately made up. There is the people who need to be worried are, you mentioned Les Wexner, right? The guy who created Victoria's Secret. He needs to be worried by these European investigations. Elon Musk needs to be worried by these European. Bill Gates needs to be worried. All of these people who so publicly over the last year have kind of gone to war against these European countries, well, they're going to rue that decision now, because Europe isn't going to be held back the way the United States is, because Europe doesn't have a leader who's involved.
Well, and these European countries also know that they have limits to their power, and the president does have immunity. I mean, they really can't overreach into his area, but what they can do is they can pick off all of his little cronies. And I do believe you're right with regards to those people, but also the UK, who has largely taken last year kind of a more hands-off approach to this with regards to Prince Andrew. Originally in like 2022, the Queen initiated some original steps to address the situation with Prince Andrew. Quite frankly, I don't think she did enough. I think she did what she was comfortable with at the time. And largely in the UK press, people have always identified Prince Andrew as her favorite child. So I think she handled it with a little bit more kids' gloves. She was also an older monarchy that was probably very much more deeply entrenched in
covering things up. Queen Elizabeth came from a different generation where cover-ups and the denial of scandals within the royal family was something that you could just weather. You didn't comment on it. You didn't give interviews. Diana started this whole thing where suddenly the media is now digging deeper against the royal family. So yes, Charles came matriculated through, monarchy at a much different time than Elizabeth did. Charles, to his point, and I don't want to steal what you were about to say, though, talking about how serious the UK is taking this, they have kicked out, essentially, one of their senators. The House of Lords is essentially the upper house in England, although I guess they've changed that a little in the Parliament. But they're taking it so seriously that they've removed one of their lords, and They made Andrew move out of the royal residence in the middle of the night. Charles ordered him to vacate the premises. That's how seriously the UK is taking this Epstein deal.
Yes, and they've exiled him. And so, to continue on that same line
And
of
by the way,
thinking,
that's all. Hold on, just for context, that's all within the last 48 hours since this tranche dumped Friday. Yeah.
Yes, this has been evolving. So yes, I agree. Queen Elizabeth handled this more in line with the old regime and how they managed this kinds of scandals. There was probably some sort of a payout to Virginia Guthrie, especially when that book came out.
Yeah.
Then the Queen passed and Charles took power and he became much more aggressive. So not only did this move out happen, but prior to this last year, he stripped Prince Andrew of all of his official titles.
Yeah, you're identifying him wrong. His name is not Prince Andrew. His name is
anymore. You're right.
Andrew
You're
Mountbatten
right.
Windsor. That's his name.
That's right.
He's not a royal highness. He's not a part of the monarchy. He has been completely exiled.
And we don't understand as much about how this monarchy situation works because we're not familiar with that. But in their country, that the minute that HRH title got stripped from him, now he no longer has immunity. So I do believe we're going to see some official charges coming up. They've exiled him. He has been moved away from them. They're not distancing themselves from it. They are addressing it. And I think it's interesting. And you're right. Lord Mendelssohn is another prominent figure in this Epstein stuff. Not only did we have seen pictures with him, Epstein. There's a lot of information about this, which I find really interesting. I don't quite understand it. Not that he wouldn't have been in Epstein's world, but Lord Mendelssohn is also homosexual. Quite interesting. But like, he's out of the closet. That's not a secret. And also I have seen personally pictures with him and Brett Ratner. And so this is all very tightly laced. And so Mendelssohn has now come out, much like many of these other wealthy people who have, apologized and are quote unquote deeply embarrassed by their association of it. Too little, too late. I think they're going to go for him again. Once you start stripping titles from people in the UK, then they become indictable for criminal offenses.
And that's when they talk. That's when they start to talk. When the immunity is gone and they are facing actual jail time for these things, that's when we're going to start to see deals being made. And, the whole thing about this being taken far more seriously, at least right now, by European countries, the thing about that is, it may not have any effect on the American justice system, but what it will do is it will reveal a whole bunch of information that we don't get here in America. The BBC will start reporting stuff that we've never heard before. They'll have pictures that we've never seen before. They will do it in a completely different way because, again, their leaders are not protecting their buddies.
Correct. And the one country, the few countries we haven't seen anything necessarily from are like in Saudi Arabia. We know what we think about them. The Saudi Arabian Crown Prince is deeply entrenched in the Epstein stuff, all the way back to his financial dealings. He had a passport that had a Saudi Arabian address on it. So, we haven't heard anything about them, and they do things differently though. But, I don't necessarily expect to see anything, but there is something I would like to dredge back up that nobody's really talking about, and I haven't seen anything in the news about it lately. So I don't know if it's just too much going on that people aren't remembering this. But back in 2024, when Trump was running for office, Iran hacked his campaign. I don't know if you remember this. And they said that they have some very incriminating files and some stuff, and they threatened to leak it. And then they rolled it back. And I realized it was probably in some sort of way they were trying to create some leverage for themselves about something. But I'd really love to see what those files were.
Well, yeah, apparently there are governments all over the world who know shit that we don't know about this Epstein thing. It's been rumored for years that Putin has put together a that's fake, the fake dossier. Putin's got something on Trump. I think that is absolutely clear. It's been clear to I think normal people for a bunch of years. The Saudi Arabians probably do as well. I'm sure the Iranians do. I mean, anybody who has an axe to grind with the United States has probably had their intelligence agencies acquire some pretty damning stuff about Trump. He's easily blackmailable. That's another big problem with him being our president. Other countries have leverage on him for all kinds of shit that he did in the 80s and 90s. That's undeniable.
Mhm. Yeah, no, he's definitely very compromised. I would, like I said, I agree. They're not going to be as friendly about the information that they discuss. They're not going to be inclined to protect Donald Trump or any of his close cronies that are involved in this. They're going to let the fists fly where the fists fly. And I do think you're right. I think that we're going to see Mendelsohn cough up a bunch of stuff. I think he would be terrified to go to jail. I think the same thing about Elon in France. I mean, what we know about our prison systems here, and God knows they're not great, but when you talk about prison systems in Europe, they're like gulags.
Yeah. The whole socialized country prisons. British prisons are bad. They're not like Turkish prisons or El Salvadorian prisons, but they are worse than American prisons.
Correct. I mean, they don't get nearly the level of comfort. They're not getting cable TV in these places.
No, you know what else they don't have? And I read this in an article yesterday when I was reading about Lord Mendelsohn. They do not in the United Kingdom have what we call a club fed. They don't have that level of prison. No. So, and he probably wouldn't go to a club fed anyway. We're talking about sex trafficking crimes, but they do take incarceration a little bit more seriously than we do here. We, of course, have corrupted the way we incarcerate our people because we've decided that that's a profit center, that incarcerating our citizens is a way to make money. Other countries don't look at it that way. And, they don't have air-conditioned cells, but we do.
Yes, right. Like they're not getting weightlifting time and cable TV and things like that. So I and they obviously know this. They are the lawmakers of those countries, and I'm sure that he is probably terrified, as like I said, especially since he's purported to be homosexual. I mean, I don't think he would survive very well in prison at all.
He ain't going to prison. Hold on, just very quickly. Byron in the chat room, he says there's about to be a ton of mysterious deaths.
Agreed, Byron.
There's not only about to be, I mean, we are in the middle of mysterious deaths. I told you yesterday about the former ambassador to France from South America who is all over the Epstein files, and in November he jumped to his death. Or was he pushed?
Yes, we've already had several. Virginia Guthrie.
The dead center, the main tent pole of this whole thing. Virginia Guthrie killed her. I mean, there have been a lot of people who have died mysteriously.
Jean-Luc Brunel.
All right, what else you got? You got anything else? Let's wrap up. I can only do so much Epstein talk every day before I get really upset.
I know it's so heavy and it's so depressing, but so let's lighten the mood a little bit. And I really want you to play that video I sent you of that guy in, I think it was Katy, Texas. Is it Katy? It's somewhere in Texas with the girls that were beating him up.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Where did you send it?
I know we got off of Texas a little bit. I sent it to you on text, and I think I sent it to you on Facebook, but if not, I can resend it to you on instant messenger.
Hold on. I got it. If it's on Facebook, I'll play it. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. There's a guy down there in somewhere Texas, it's just another. Last week we played for you a video of the guy that went up to the kids waiting on Pokemon cards at a Target store, and he started calling them illegals and all of that. And now we got a guy in Central Texas. I think it's Central Texas. Actually, maybe it's somewhere else. I'm not sure. We got a guy who jumps out of his car. That was you. You just sent something.
Yeah, just sent it to you. So again, it's in Facebook Messenger now.
There it is. All right, here we go.
It was on X.
So this guy is driving down the road. He sees a bunch of kids that are protesting, and this guy is compelled to jump out of his car because he's an emotional midget who can't control himself. Let's watch this. All right, Maddie's got some thoughts. Oh, hold on. Got to make it big. That's what she said. Here we go. We'll start this again. By the way, I do want to say, point one thing out about this. Trump supporter attack for, we don't know he's a Trump supporter. Some of the things said, oh, he's wearing a red hat. A man in a red hat beats up. He's not wearing a MAGA hat. It's not a red MAGA hat. It's a red hat, but it's not a MAGA hat. It's like a Titleist hat. It's a golf hat. Look at this. Jesus. You know, at some point, is he just like in the middle of this madness? You know, you have these little flicker thoughts that run. Is he thinking, what have I done with my life? How did I, a grown ass man, end up in a field on the side of the road getting fucking bum rushed by a bunch of kids? Now that is a walk of shame. That
dude got his ass beat by a bunch of skinny little girls.
I don't know what the fuck this is. I don't know if you can see the screen, but what are we looking at here? Is this a bald spot on a teenager with purple hair? What is
I
this?
think she didn't touch up her roots.
That looks like a bud. This looks like it's like Larry Fine from the Three Stooges. If Larry Fine went emo, I don't know what is happening here.
I don't know. Let's get a look at him. Oh, does he got a Nazi haircut? Kinda. Yeah, he's got the Nazi haircut. Yeah, he's definitely got a Nazi haircut. Oh, that's a terrible look, young men. All right. Maddie, go ahead. Your thoughts. Gotta love it. I'm telling you, all I could say is, you know, one of the things that all these MAGA supporters and even Pete Hegseth and all these people, their famous saying these days is "fuck around and find out." Well,
he's lucky he didn't get his teeth kicked in. I mean, he was on the ground, vulnerable, and you know, if there was somebody who knew what they were doing, they'd have kicked his teeth in.
Punching him in the back of the head.
Punch it. That's just gonna hurt your knuckles. You can't hurt anybody punching him in the back of the head. That's all bone. You're just gonna be banging your knuckles on somebody's bone. You got to kick him in the face. He should have been kicked in the face, and they didn't do it.
Well, even though it seems like, and I looked at the arrest picture of him later, you know, he's got a black eye and he looks pretty rough, you know, but let's face it, these MAGA guys, his pride is hurt way more than his body.
I don't know. Again, I push back on the MAGA thing. He's just an asshole. I don't know. He might be one of these weird freaking thinks Trump is in the Epstein. You know, there's a weird. I don't know that that's political. What I would say is that is just another indication of how much mental illness that we have in this country. And yes, I consider one's inability to control their emotional state to be a mental illness. It's not like being, a fucking schizophrenic who hears voices and needs to kill people, but it is another degree of mental illness. Normal people cannot be triggered to that extent by a bunch of kids doing something because kids do shit that irritates grownups all the time. Maddie?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm just reading the article on the news in Kyle, Texas right now, and he's been identified as 45-year-old Chad Michael Watts of Kyle, and he was the primary aggressor in a fight.
His name is
when they
Chad.
add the middle name in there.
His name is literally Chad.
Yes. In a fight with a minor during walkout by hundreds of Hayes CISD students on Monday protesting immigration and law enforcement operations. Watts faced 2 counts of assault causing bodily injury. Both Watts and the girl involved reported minor injuries but declined medical evaluation. A video obtained, taken by some of the students outside the pickup, goes on to say that they were shouting and throwing objects at him while he walked back to his truck. And let's see, The Hayes County Judge Ruben Becerra described the incident as a stark reminder of the power imbalance between adults and minors. A full-grown adult on a young high school girl is a lot of power to overthrow, and so it took enough people around finally to get him off her, and ultimately he went back to his own truck and took off.
Adam in the chat room says, this takes me back to my hood days. Cholas screaming at the top of their lungs as they busted each other in the face, but their fighting was always lame. They'd used fist striking down, not out. I have that experience too, except it's with black girls on the south side of Chicago. And let me tell you, black girls could fight. Black girls do not. There were a bunch of black girls from the south side of Chicago. That dude have been taken out in a stretcher. They would have kicked him in the face. That is.
Yes. Black women can beat your ass.
Oh, the scariest thing I ever encountered was when I have to get on a city bus in my younger days, and there's a bunch of black girls sitting in the back of the bus. The meanest people you ever had to take a bus ride with. They will make fun of you for everything. They don't have a governor. They just talk shit endlessly, and you just get off at stops that aren't even yours because, well, there's another bus coming, and it probably won't have angry black girls. They're scary. So I'm telling you, Vanessa got my ass kicked by a black girl once. Vanessa Williams, yeah, not the Miss America. This was in boarding school in 7th grade. She was the scariest black girl I ever met, and I rode city buses. She beat the fuck out of me. Seriously, punched me in the face, split my lip. God, she was scary. Anyway, maybe Adam is pointing out the Mexican girls can't fight like that, but they do want to fight. They're hot-blooded. You know,
Well, it seemed like they did a pretty good job on that old boy.
Well, all right, Maddie, thank you so much. We'll talk with you again. Well, maybe not tomorrow, maybe Monday. I don't know. We'll see. Whatever. There's no time on this. Whenever there's something to talk about, we have Maddie join us. Thank you, Maddie.
Thank you.
All right, there she goes. All right. Let's see here. We got more stuff to do. We got a lot more show here today because I'm feeling good today. I'm feeling much better than I have the last couple of days. And do you know what's different? I didn't take cold medicine. I'm just dealing with my cold like a normal person. All right, I do have to go to the bathroom though. So we are going to take one more quick break. I'm going to go to the bathroom and then we're going to do the rest of the show with no breaks. I promise you, okay? We'll be back after I remind you one more time that our executive producer on today's show is Peter the Great. Peter the Great dropped a little something in the Venmo. He helps the show out every month. He was the big tipper from yesterday. So that means that he is today's executive producer. If you want to be tomorrow's executive producer, all you got to do is be the big tipper of today. And we do need tips. I am shaking the tin cup like some desperate evangelist. Opposition Talk needs your support. Drop a little something if you can. We're trying to raise as much money as we can this month. And by that, I mean like a couple $100. That's what we need. So help out the show if you can. Everybody drops a little something. We'll get to our limit easily. Appreciate you. All right, we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to leave this up. Give me about 3-4 minutes and then we'll come right back. Got a bunch of stuff we want to get into still. We still got to talk about, let's see. Let me give you a tease. Oh, Kamala. Kamala's back. We're going to get into the Brendan Banfield story. Yeah, that's the one I really want to get into. This is a news story. Well, it's a criminal case. I'm sure that there's going to be datelines about it if there's not already. It's a husband who is on trial. He's guilty. They found him guilty. Wait till you hear the details. He's on trial for killing his wife and some dude who he hired to come over to the house and pretend like he was going to rape the wife. Oh, it's such a weird story. There is a smoke show foreign nanny involved. Oh, we're going to give you all the details of the Brendan Banfield guilty story when we take a break. We'll come back. We'll do that. And then we're going to watch a bunch of videos. We got a whole bunch of other stuff that we got to get into. Okay. Got an update on TJ Sabula. Remember TJ Sabula? He was the guy who called Trump a pedophile protector. Remember that guy? He was sidelined from his gig there at the Ford Motor Plant. We've got an update on him and a whole bunch more. Plus your chat room comments, all of that. All right. Quick break. We'll be back. Give me about 3-4 minutes. All right, here we go. We're back. We are back. All right, another segment here of the Rant. Every day at noon, opposition talk. Opposition to what? Opposition to all the fucking silliness that's happening. We are not political. We are not partisan. We are somewhere in the middle, and we think everybody's fucking crazy. And we're tired of it. We talk about it every single day, noon since 2021. Yeah, don't think that like you're just checking this out now. It's just something you don't want to get attached to because it's going to go away. We've been doing this every day at noon since 2021. So now is the time to jump on board. Got a lot more stuff we got to get into today. Let me see. What did we do? We left off with, we talked to Maddie. We did all the Epstein stuff. Clinton's testify. Let's talk about the Brendan Banfield story. Okay. Brendan Banfield. Here we go. We'll pull this up. I'll give you pictures here so we know what we're looking at because we're going to need. Hold on. All right. Probably could have done this off the air. Probably should have had this ready. All right. So this is the one that we'll share. All right. You a picture here of Brendan Banfield. Let me see. Ooh, that's the hot nanny. No, okay, we'll do this one. Here you go. Here's the picture. This is the happy family. All right. Oh, goodness. Goodness. All right. All right, there you go. This is the happy family, or I guess the family in happier times. That's old Brendan there on the right. Let me give you the story. Hold on. I got weird pages open. All right, here's the story. I don't know if you've been following this. I wasn't following it until he was guilty, and then I talked to some friends about it, and they're like, oh, yeah, that was a real story. People were talking about it. Brendan Banfield has been found guilty of murdering his wife and a sex-seeking stranger in a twisted plot with the nanny turned witness. Oh. Ex-IRS Special Agent Brendan Banfield Friday was found guilty of murdering his wife and a sex-seeking stranger whom prosecutors allege he lured to the couple's suburban D.C. mansion as part of an elaborate plot he hatched with his Brazilian nanny turned mistress. Ooh. All right. Rich folks. These are rich folks. They got a suburban mansion there in D.C. And let me tell you, if you can have a mansion in the suburbs of D.C., you got money because there's a lot of money people that want mansions that are close to D.C. Former IRS guy, his wife. What is his wife? His wife is, we'll get into this. Should probably even have his wife's name. The 40-year-old former Fed was convicted by a jury in Fairfax, Virginia, of killing his wife, Christine, and Jeff Ryan. All right. Brendan is 40. His wife is 37. And Joseph Ryan, the man that he hired to come and rape his wife. Yeah, I'll get to the details. The details are weird. Joseph Ryan is 38. So it's 40, 37, and 38. Prosecutors say that Ryan arrived at Banfield's Herndon home believing he was meeting Christine for a kinky rendezvous. It's back on February 24th, 2023. So this dude shows up to this mansion in the suburbs of DC. He was approached on some weirdo app, some weirdo sex app, some fetish site. He was approached on the fetish site, and he was asked to come to this house and pretend like he's raping the woman. There will be a woman there when he walks in. He needs to rape her. He needs to pretend. All right. So this is what he thinks. He's like, oh, I'm on the app. Oh, they want me to pretend to rape somebody. I mean, for me, it would raise a red flag. I'd be like, are we sure everybody's in on this? Because you're just asking me to kick the door in and then rape her, and she's into it. You're saying she wants, right? There should have been follow-up questions, but there weren't. So the dude shows up at the house, walks in, sees the wife, throws her to the ground. He's not messing around with her. He's not hurting her. He's doing, this fake fetish thing. And she's like, what is going on? Because the wife, Christine, she has no clue What's happening here? Who is this guy holding me down, trying to rape me? Just at that moment, Brendan, the husband, shows up, pulls a gun, murders the guy. He murdered Joseph Ryan, the guy who was just there because he's thinking he's hooking up from a fucking fetish site. Husband walks in, murders that guy, then takes the knife and stabs to death his wife. You get the scene he's trying to set up. He's trying to set up a scene that says that his wife was being raped and murdered by this guy and that he showed up in the nick of time and killed the guy. Of course, he had to kill Christine himself, which, was the flaw in the plan. He wanted it to look like the guy Joseph Ryan killed Christine, and then he killed Joseph Ryan. But, that fell apart. Why? Because he was in cahoots, Brendan, with his nanny. That's right. Christine and Brendan, they had a baby, a little baby. I think we're seeing the baby. Is that the baby right there? Hold on, I got to see what we're looking at. Yeah, there's the baby. You got to blur that baby's face out. You don't want later in life people going, hey, aren't you the baby? Do you see how stupid that is? Why are they blurring the fucking baby's face out? That baby's face is going to be completely different in 6 months. Why are you well, we've got to do it to protect the children because we're doing the right thing. It's stupid. It's not necessary. You don't have to blur the face of a baby out. The baby's going to look completely different in a couple weeks. Jesus Christ, babies, they change everything. I bought my kid a pair of $200 Air Jordans. He wore them for like a week before they were too small. Anyway, there's the baby. All right, so Christine and Brendan, they have this beautiful little baby, and then they hire a nanny. And they hire a nanny from where? They hire a nanny from Brazil. A Brazilian nanny. Well, I think it's Brazil. Is it Brazil or is it like... I don't know. Let's see the nanny. Let me show you the nanny they brought into the house. Where is she? Nope, that's not them. Boom, there she is. All right, there's the Brazilian nanny. That's Juliana Margalhães. Isn't that the chick that was on ER? No, that's Juliana Margulies. Margulies is the chick from ER. This is the nanny who was in cahoots with Brendan to murder the wife and the just dude who thought he was getting laid. Her name is Juliana Margalhães. All right. So there we'll look at her. All right, back to the story. It says the 40-year-old former Fed was convicted by a jury of killing his wife, Christine, and Joseph Ryan. Brandon Banfield was also convicted of using a weapon for the murders and of endangering his then 4-year-old daughter by leaving her unattended in the basement while the carnage unfolded. So he put the baby down in the basement and then he murdered the dude and then stabbed his wife to death. Let's see here. Hold on. There's more details. We don't care about the jury. The panel consisting of... Nobody fucking cares about the panel. We want more details in this crazy-ass story. Fairfax Commonwealth attorney Steve DeSano told reporters at a press conference after that Banfield's choice to make up the twisted story and then double down on it when he testified before the jury was monstrous. So what story did he make up? So they brought in the hot nanny that you see there. And of course, Brendan fell for the hot nanny because Brendan looks like a total doofus. The hot nanny, for her part, I don't know what her deal was. Maybe she was here looking for a green card marriage. Who knows? But she was down. So she's having sex with Brendan in the house. The wife, I don't know if she's onto it or not, but she's having sex with Brendan. He falls in love with her. I don't know if she falls in love with him, but he falls in love with her. I think she probably fell in love with the security of living in a mansion in the suburbs of DC when she was born on a favela on a hillside in Brazil. So, she's down with it. She's like, yeah, whatever. You want to divorce your wife? No. He didn't want to divorce Christine because he was worried about custody and then some kind of financial hit that he would take through the divorce. So he came up with a plan, at least according to Juliana here, it was his plan. His plan was he would start an account on a fetish website. The account would be under the name of his wife. He would make it appear that his wife was secretly into fetish sex and random hookups. Then, posing as his wife on this site, he would lure somebody to come to the house and attempt to rape his wife. Again, I want you to try and rape me. It's a fantasy of mine. It's that whole thing. Weird sex people doing weird sex people things again. I hate this about us. God, regular sex is fine. Why do you people need to make it better? Regular sex ain't enough for you? Good Lord, everybody's got to make it exciting. So anyway, so that's the idea. They're like, all right, so we're going to get this guy to come over, and he's going to come over, and he's going to start to rape, right? It's going to be playing, right? They're going to do role playing. He's going to start to rape her. She's not going to know what's going on. She's going to think it's a real rape, at which point I will jump in, I will shoot him, and then apparently, according to his testimony, he wanted Juliana here to murder the wife. But apparently he murdered the wife, or at least that's the way it was testified to, because Juliana turned state witness. Of course she did. Of course she did. She provided she turned on him like that. And she was sentenced to time served. She apparently wasn't rung up for any of the murders or anything. She was an accomplice and a co-conspirator. And she spent, I guess, like a year or something in jail, 2 years almost, because this happened in February of 2023. Or 3 years, maybe. I don't know how long it was, but she was allowed to walk. She testified against him. And now Brandon's going to jail. We don't know for how long. Probably for life. Seems like it's going to be for life. Should be for life. Don't know if they've got the death penalty there in Virginia. Let's read on, shall we? Prosecutor said that it was a very, very emotional day for the victims' families. And he added, I hope this verdict gives them some sense of peace and puts them somewhere on the path towards healing. Excuse me. Over the course of the sordid 3-week trial, the 12-person jury heard from both Banfield's Brazilian au pair. That's who we're looking at here. That's Juliana Perez Magalhães. She's 25. And from Banfield himself. Yeah, he testified on his own behalf. Uh-oh, don't do that. That's never good. That's always a Hail Mary. That means you're in trouble. Magalhães, who pleaded guilty as part of a prosecution agreement for a sentence of time served, testified that mere months after she began sleeping with her married employer, the duo started cooking up a twisted scheme to kill Christine. The pair started a fetish account pretending to be the mom of one and lured in Ryan to supposedly help Christine live out her fantasy of being raped. So many holes in this. So many. I mean, I imagine that as soon as the investigator looking at the crime was introduced to the au pair, that investigator went, oh, okay, I've got a new way I'm going to look at this. This is so fucking stupid. Ryan came to the Banfield's home armed with a knife as instructed and began playing out the kinky sex session with an unwitting Christine, who was previously a nurse. It says she was a nurse for sexual assault victims. So she was a nurse for rape victims. Magalhães, who looked after the Banfield's daughter, waited in a car outside the house, calling Banfield and telling him that an intruder had just broken in. But it was all part of an elaborate frame job. So you get it? So like Banfield's not there. The wife is there alone. They've set up this thing where this guy's going to show up and help this chick live out her rape fantasy. He's like, what, you want to be raped? I'll rape you. That's weird. That's kind of weird to want to participate in that, but okay. So he's like, okay, I'm Joseph Ryan. I'm 38 years old. I'm going to go to this house, this mansion, and I'm going to rape this rich lady because she wants it. So while that's going on, the nanny is apparently sitting in the car in the driveway. And as soon as the guy gets there, she then calls Brendan and says, he's in the house. And then Brandon, dun, 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 he shows up, pulls out a gun, kills the guy raping his wife, and then murders his wife. And he thought he was going to get away with it. The philandering husband shot Ryan with his weapon to make it look like he bravely saved his wife from an attack and then stabbed Christine multiple times in the neck, trying to doctor the scene to appear as though Ryan had killed her, the nanny testified. Brendan Banfield, admitted to the romance with the au pair, admitted he'd cheated before, and said that Christine also slept around, so she deserved to die. He didn't say that. The accused murderer also copped to jurors that he shot Ryan, maintaining it was in self-defense of his wife and not part of a cold-blooded plan. During closing arguments Friday morning, Banfield's lawyer, John Carroll, told the panelists that Magalhães, the nanny, had made up the whole story to save her own skin. Juliana made it up, Carroll said. She told the Commonwealth what they wanted to hear. Her entire story has been bought and paid for, said Carol, adding that not only would she skirt hard time, but also had the opportunity to sell her story to be made into a documentary. Well, hey, man, that's why you get a conspiracy going. That's why it's so hard to have an effective conspiracy, because somebody always gets dangled. If the conspiracy is big enough, there's money to be made on the back end. And if you're the first person to make a deal like this chick, yeah, she'll sell this. She'll sell this story. She'll get a book deal. There'll be something. She'll make some money off this. All right, there you have it. The Banfield's there in suburban Washington, D.C., Brendan Banfield. He's going to be sentenced in May. Probably going to get double life or something like that, but there we have it. All right, the Banfields. Wasn't that fun, guys? You think your married life is weird? Just imagine. Those are your neighbors. And if you lived in that neighborhood, you probably thought of them as normal people. Oh, yeah, they're totally normal. We don't know what crazy shit is going on. We just don't know. Let's see here. All right, so this story is weird. This is a weird story, and I thought maybe we could talk to one of my tech friends, but I decided not to call anybody, so I'm just going to ham-fistedly try and go through this. AI. So we know that AI is taking over everything, right? AI, we're all supposed to be afraid of AI, or we love it. I don't know. I don't know what your deal is, but whatever it is, AI is a thing, and it's coming, and it's taking all of our jobs, and it's how we're all going to end up living in real life, the storyline to Battlestar Galactica. That's what's going to happen. See it already happening. But AI is taking over everything. But there are things that AI cannot do, physical things. The AI is just it exists in the ether. AI can't grab something. AI can't move this from here to here. AI can't run and pick something up or deliver something. I mean, soon it'll be AI working with robots, so we'll completely eliminate humanity. But for right now, there is a brand new entry into what we've now coined as the gig economy. Yeah, remember, we don't have factories anymore, but everybody can have 5 jobs delivering food or driving for Uber or something like that. We don't have actual good jobs that provide us with, health insurance and all that stuff anymore. We don't have that, but we now have something even better, the gig economy. Because everybody wants to fill out 5 different fucking tax forms every year for their 5 different gig economy jobs. None of which provide any kind of health insurance. You know why private health insurance is so expensive? Because all health insurance is mandated, or not mandated, but at least the way we've been doing it is through your job. So if you don't have a job that provides health insurance, then you've got to go out onto the open market and you've got to buy private health insurance. And it's crazy expensive because you're not getting the group rate anymore. Well, what happens when there aren't jobs providing health insurance anymore, and then the private market is still fucking expensive as hell? It's all messed up. Anyway. Yes, I'm angry about the current state of health insurance in this country. I've got very personal reasons for this. New site lets AI rent human bodies. That's right. You don't want to be an Uber driver. You don't want to be a DoorDasher. You don't want to be one of them personal shoppers that does the shopping, off the app. You don't want to do that. How about this? How about you allowing your body to be used for things that AI needs a body to do? AI doesn't have a body. Listen to this. The machines aren't just coming for your jobs now. They want your bodies as well. That's at least the hope of Alexander Leteplo, a software engineer and founder of rentahuman.ai, a platform for AI agents to seek, search, book, and pay humans for physical world tasks. Are you following me now? So it's like an app just like, Uber or whatever, except the people hiring you are going to be AI. They'll be hiring you because AI wants a hot dog and it needs you to go. I don't understand what it is, but let's read on, shall we? When Letepo launched Rent a Human on Monday, he boasted that he already had over 130 people listed on the platform, including an OnlyFans model and the CEO of an AI startup, a claim which could not be verified. 2 days later, the site boasted over 73,000 rentable meat wads. That's not cute. It's not cute. All right. This is the first time you've heard that term used that way. Meat wads. Meat wads is what AI is calling us. We're not people. We're meat wads. Oh, I know it sounds cute now because it's the first time you've heard it, but you just wait until our default classification in the universe is meat wad. Holy shit. 73,000 rentable meat wads are now available. That's up from 130 on day one. Day one was Monday. There's now 73,000 rentable meat wads. It says here, though, only 83 profiles were visible to us on its Browse Humans tab. All right, so there you go. The pitch is simple. So what is this? How does this work? Ready? The pitch is simple. Robots need your body. For humans, it's as simple as making a profile, advertising your skills and your location, and then setting up an hourly rate. Then AI agents, autonomous task bots. They're not even real people. AI agents, autonomous task bots, ostensibly employed by humans, contact these other humans depending on the tasks that they need to get done. The humans, us, then do the thing, taking instruction from the AI bot and submitting proof of completion. The humans are then paid through crypto. Okay, well, we did a story earlier today about how the bottom has fallen out of the crypto market. So anyways, that's how we're getting paid. We're getting paid in crypto. I still want cash or gold. I'll do it for gold. With so many AI agents slithering around the web these days, those tasks could be just about anything. So what kind of tasks? From picking up packages and shopping to product testing and even attending events in person. How about that? How about you get hired by an AI bot to go to a concert? Because the AI bot's like, well, we need some... I don't know what's happening. I don't know what that means. What do you mean? Why am I getting paid to go to this concert? I don't know what that means, man. All right, with so many AI agents slithering around the web these days, those tasks could be just about anything, from package pickups and shopping to product testing and event attendance. Letepo, he's the guy who started this company, is banking on there being enough demand from AI agents to create a robust gig work ecosystem. Letepo also went on, this is more about him. Hold on. Letepo also went out of his way to make the site friendly for AI agents. The site very prominently encourages users of AI agents to hook into Rent a Human's model context protocol server. Okay, you're losing me. It's a universal interface for AI bots to interact with the web. Through Rent a Human, AI agents like Claude and Moltbot can either hire the right human directly or post a task bounty, a sort of job board for humans to browse AI-generated gigs. Oh, I kind of like that. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe this isn't, I don't know what this is. I think it's indicative of something really bad that we're about 20 years from. But right now, I don't know. You know, I'm out here shaking my can for tips. I'll go to a concert for an AI bot that can't go physically. I don't even know what that means. So confused by all this. It's unclear how efficient the marketplace is at actually connecting agents to humans. Despite receiving 30 applications, one task, pick up a package from downtown USPS in San Francisco for $40, has yet to be fulfilled after 2 days. So that's the kind of thing. That's the kind of thing. Pick up a UPS or pick up a United States Post. All right, so here's one of the tasks. Pick up a package from the downtown United States Post Office in San Francisco for $40. It says here that task has yet to be fulfilled. I could do that. I mean, not San Francisco. For $40, I would need an airplane ticket and hotel and all that stuff. So, but if that was like, that's okay. All right. So if I lived like near the post office in San Francisco, I might be able to make a quick 40. I don't know that that's terrible. Again, I know that it's terrible 20 years down the road. I just don't know if it's terrible now. We need gigs. I need gigs. I'm desperate for money. It's also debatable whether the AI agents are actually capable of putting the humans to good use. Still, Leteplo's vision is clear. Someday soon, anyone wealthy enough to run an AI agent for $25 a day could outsource their busy work to gig workers without ever exchanging a word. See, that's not good. That's not good for humanity. We are completely not even interacting with each other anymore because we've got robots interacting for us. That's not good. Or maybe it is good. See, I don't know. What it is it's different than how humanity has gone about their business. And now we're changing to doing it a different way. And it's different for me. So I think that's bad because we don't like change. But I don't know. Maybe it's not bad. I don't know. Maybe it's not bad. Maybe we evolve into, I don't know, man. What are we going to do? That's what I keep thinking. What are we going to do with no jobs, no careers? I told you last week I was talking to a friend of mine who's had her kid doing coding since he was like 7 years old. She was always very proud. He's 19 now. And she's like, oh, he's doing coding. He's so good at it. He's 12 years old. He's like a little Bill Gates or whatever. That was a very common thing. A lot of kids, a lot of my son's age, a lot of kids, they've got coding experience. They know how to code. It was preparing them at an early age. It was parents being proactive, getting their children the skills that they're going to need to compete in the workplace when they're older. Well, guess what? Coding isn't a human thing anymore. It's now being done by AI. So all of those kids in all of those years, Timmy could have been playing baseball, but instead you had him at some fucking strip mall learning how to code 2 hours a day after school. Interestingly enough, we're not going to need coders in the future, but we probably will still need professional athletes. So they'll still be around. It's also debatable whether AI agents are actually capable of putting humans to work, blah, blah, blah. Like many AI grifters these days, Leteplo shields himself in ironic self-awareness. When one person called Rent a Human a, quote, good idea, but dystopic as fuck, the founder replied simply, yep. I mean, they're not even denying it. So somebody was pitched this and described the idea as a good idea, but dystopic as fuck. This is what I'm saying 20 years from now. This dystopian fucking existence that we're all going to live. Good idea, but dystopic as fuck. To which the guy who created it said, yep. Yep. Jesus, man. Hey, but he's going to make some money. So his dystopian existence in 20 years is going to be comfortable. He's going to live in a castle on top of a mountain with a whole bunch of like turret machine guns. He's going to be fine. This is kind of dystopic, right? This is like not good for society. This is probably going to take us into an era of humanity that we're not prepared for, right? Yep. Whatever. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. Maybe it's good. Maybe this is maybe AI and robots doing everything and we all just watch TV all day. I've seen the movie Idiocracy. That's really what it seems like we're heading towards. All right. What else? What else do we have? I don't really want to do that story. We'll do this story. Here's a fun story. Remember TJ Sabula? TJ Sabula, he is the Ford Motor Plant guy who a couple of weeks ago, Trump showed up at the Ford Motor Plant and he was like, hey, I'm a rock star to these people. And he was one of the auto workers and he yelled out, you're a pedophile protector or whatever. And then Trump was like, fuck you, dude, because that's how presidents respond to criticism. And for his speaking truth to power, something that is absolutely guaranteed and kind of the whole reason for the First Amendment, speaking truth to power, because he dared to speak truth to power, TJ Sabula, if you recall, was suspended by the Ford Motor Company. Oh my God. Ford Motor Company. No surprise to me that Henry Ford wouldn't be all about the Constitution and the rights of workers. That's not shocking, but it is kind of shocking that in 2026, this dude was benched so publicly as a I'm so sorry, Mr. President. I mean, that was weird. Anyway, his suspension is over, and as of Monday this week, TJ Sabula is back working his job there at the Ford Motor Plant. He is $1 million richer because the GoFundMe for him after he called the president a pedophile president has gone almost to $1 million. The total that I have here is $937,000 has been raised for old TJ simply for calling the president a pedophile. Boy, there's a way to make money, huh? The dystopian future. He's got, do you know what I could do with that amount of money? Do you know what I could do with here's what I could do with $900,000. I could guarantee that this show will go on for the next 20 years. And I can live on that $900,000 for the next 20 years. Oh, Pugs, you break that down. No, I could do it. I don't need much. I need a studio apartment, a car that starts, and some internet. That's it. Maybe air conditioning. But if I'm in Chicago, don't even know that I necessarily need air conditioning. Definitely need heat. I don't need much. Jesus, this guy, he's still going to work. Good for him. TJ Sabula, speaking truth to power. $1 million richer because he dared look at the president and say, you're a pedophile protector. God bless the truth speakers, huh? Okay, what else do we have here? Oh, here's something. Here's another thing on the Epstein thing. I saw this yesterday. I thought this was interesting. Here's a dude that looks like he's from the Rogan sphere. You know the dudes that love like Rogan and the dudes that love like all of that. Who else is in that? Theo Von, the Rogan sphere, the manosphere. This looks like one of them dudes from the manosphere. Well, he's got something that he once said about the Epstein files, and I think we need to listen to him because I am down for this, even though I think he looks like a chode, and I bet you we disagree on almost everything. We agree on this. Let's listen to this guy.
It's all Republicans in the files. It's all Democrats in the files. No, it's all fucking elitists in the files. It's all members of the top 1% in those fucking files. You know who's not in those files? There's not a single line cook. There's not a single mechanic. There's not a single landscaper, a single construction worker, a single warehouse worker, a single call center worker. Not a single member of the working class, and I guarantee not one single illegal immigrant is in those files. You know who is in those files? The victims. And who are the victims? The victims are your children. They're not their fucking children, no. Why is that? Because these people target the most vulnerable, the weakest among our society. And they've been doing it for fucking generations. Start punching upwards. Stop fighting your fucking neighbor to your left and your right. It's not their fault that you are struggling. Whose fault is it?
There we go. There we go. I don't know
No.
who that guy is, but that is what I've been preaching since we started this show 4 years ago. And it seems that dude, did you see that dude? That dude's a Trump voter. That dude is exactly who got Trump elected. That is the MAGA guy. He's buff, he's young, he's a rural guy. He is either from Missouri, downstate Illinois, or Arkansas. How do I know? Because he's wearing a St. Louis Blues hat. And I promise you, nobody fucking roots for the St. Louis Blues outside of the St. Louis, Missouri metropolitan area. That dude's either an Arkansas dude, a Southern Illinois dude, or somebody who lives in the Missouri rural area. Did you see the background? That dude's out there in the woods. I think it's Arkansas. And he is giving us the message that we all need to hear, how I've been saying it for 5 years. It's time to punch up. It is time to stop blaming your neighbor with the Kamala sign or your neighbor with the Trump sign. It is time to recognize that we are being divided purposefully by the people who are truly controlling the puppet strings, and they've been controlling it for years. And it is that 1%. Say it loud. Spread the word. That's what we need to start accepting as the truth and the reality of our age. Time to clear the decks. Make a whole new, Pugs, that'll be communism if we can't be Americans and be super billionaires. Fuck you. Anybody who says that, put them in a camp. just while we're sorting this out, anybody who pushes back that you should be able to be 100 billionaire in this country and we should still have fucking arguments over whether poor kids should get free lunches, fuck you. Fuck you. Those people who push back on that, we're building camps. You're not going to stay there forever, but kind of like the Japanese during World War II. You're going to be sidelined for a while we sort out all the rest of the shit. We'll let you out, but if you are still in 2026 defending billionaires, you got to be taken out of circulation for a while because all you are doing is muddying the waters of logical and reasonable conversation. Thank you. Thank you. Down with the billionaire class. I'm not saying you can't be a billionaire. Some people deserve it. Some people seem to, well, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no, look at me. Look at me changing gears right here. I'm like, I don't really want people to be stopped. I'm tired of bad billionaires. I'm tired of being afraid to put billionaires in prison. That's what we need to do. Let's just put billionaires in prison. You can still be a billionaire. Just don't give us a reason to put you in prison. That's it. That's how I feel. And all of these motherfuckers who are tied up with this Epstein shit, that is more than enough reason to put all of these sons of bitches in prison. I don't care if you're the founder of Victoria's Secret. I don't care if you're the guy that founded Nike. I don't care if you work for General Dynamics or you're the South African ambassador to France. You're all going to fucking jail. That cannot be negotiable. So thank you. So thank you to that guy there, that hillbilly guy out there in the middle of goddamn nowhere wearing a St. Louis Blues hat. Finally speaking some sense. You have been turned against us. We have been turned against you. It is all bullshit. It's about them. Let's go. Let's go. As long as you don't mind marching with a purple-haired girl with a wide watch band, and as long as you don't mind marching with some guy wearing aviators, a ball cap, and a goatee, right? That's the look of MAGA, right? That's kind of the look. All right. We did TJ Sabula. What else do we have here? Let's see. I think we're almost out of time here, guys. I think we're almost done with the show today. 3 hours is good. 3 hours is good. You want to watch something weird? I don't even know if I want to show this to you because it's both infuriating, fascinating, entertaining, wrong. I mean, it's a very, I don't know how to explain what it is that I want to play for you, but it is the latest in a string of things that we have seen now. I think I've seen these for about a month. Apparently, there's some new AI technology that allows people to do this. I don't know who the people are who are doing it, but certainly a lot of people do. First time I saw it was after the murder of Rob Reiner, where somebody created an AI video of Rob Reiner walking through his entire career, and it was great. We all hate AI, and we all know that it can make us dumber, and we all know that it can lie to us. But, sometimes it can do some things, and we go, oh, wow. Isn't that cool? The Rob Reiner thing was cool. I've seen it a number of other times with other people since then. I saw it with Catherine O'Hara. There was a Catherine O'Hara one that was good. Basically, it's AI. It takes these people and it shows them walking through their lives, right? Like with Rob Reiner, it started, a little kid with his dad, and then it was All in the Family where he was meathead. Then it was, directing Stand By Me and whatever. So AI anyway, I don't know what this is, but it's I don't know anything about AI. Anyway, it's a thing now where these things pop up. They did one with Epstein, and they did one with all the people in the Epstein files. And the premise of this is that it's just an AI video of Epstein, right, walking through his life and saying hello and talking to all of these other people that were in the Epstein files. Now, the reason I'm a little bit about this is because there's some bullshit in there. I mean, it's like they've got people in there who shouldn't be in there, but they're targets, they're political targets. Like the Pope and Mother Teresa is depicted. It's fucking stupid. But it is kind of cool. So we're going to watch it, okay? Let's check this out. This is the Epstein AI. Maybe some of you have seen it, but we'll watch it together here and we'll react to it. Here it is. Who put this? Oh, it's also got a Five Nights at Freddy's theme. Are you guys familiar with Five Nights at Freddy's? I think you have to have a kid of a certain age. My kid was all into Five Nights at Freddy's. I guess it was a video game. Basically, the premise of the video game is that you're locked in overnight at like a, it's not a Chuck E. Cheese. It's more like a Showbiz Pizza, which was different than Chuck E. Cheese. Chuck E. Cheese had Chucky in a costume, but Showbiz Pizza had animatronic freaky robots. Anyway, Five Nights at Freddy's is a premise. That's the premise of the game. And it's now a movie and it's all kinds of stuff. And anyway, my kid loved it. So this Epstein video that we're about to watch has Epstein hanging out with Freddy from Five Nights at Freddy. I believe that's Freddy, the big animatronic bear. Anyway, let's watch this video and then we'll have comments on it. And I don't know how I feel about it. It's well done, but it's also, I don't know, man. It's well done. So here you go. You got Epstein. He's wearing like a vampire cape. And this is his cabal of creepos. And here's the Five Nights at Freddy's characters, the animatronic weirdos. Anyway, it's very odd. Anyway, let's watch this. Here we go. We'll watch it together and then we'll all react together. I want to see your reactions in the chat room. We'll do a heavy chat room mining as soon as we finish watching this. So have your opinions ready to go. I feel like I got to pause. I feel like I got to pause for each one of these. So I don't know what that was, but look at this room he's in. It's just a room. There's a missing kid here. I don't know if that's a real kid. This is Jean-Benet Ramsey, so I think maybe this is a real kid. I don't know who these are faces of, but there's like heads stuck to the wall. Here's that weird dental chair that he had at the Lolita Island. So I don't know what's going on here. This is weird, but every time I look. All right, so now he's on the set of Nickelodeon. I'm guessing this is going to be Dan Schneider, the creator of that Amanda Bynes show and all that. He's the guy that's the perv. You know what? I have to kill the music because I do not know that this can be played with the music. So we're not going to listen to the music. All right, so there you go. All right, the set of like Nickelodeon. All right, so I don't know who this guy is here. This is Weinstein looking buffer. This is, it's AI. Weinstein looks all super buff. I don't know that Weinstein is involved in the Epstein, but whatever. Probably met him. Jay-Z. Here's Jay-Z. They're wearing towels. I don't know who this person is. Taking a selfie. All right, now Jeffrey's going to walk away from the awards show. Oh, David Stern, right? David Stern, the commissioner of the NBA. He's dead. I don't know why they got him involved here, but okay. That's so freaky. All right, Harvey Levin. Harvey Levin and TMZ. Is he involved in the Epstein files? I don't know. Why not, though? We're just roping everybody in, I guess. Bill Gates. Oh, I love this. The Bill Gates, he's got the STD on his lip because that's one of the things that we learned, that Bill Gates got an STD from partying with Epstein. Oh, the swimming pool. All right. Who is this? Who's the black guy? Is that Kevin Hart? I don't know. Bill Clinton, Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey not involved in the Epstein files, but whatever. And then, of course, Prince Andrew. All right. Go and see who they got here. This one I fucking hate. This one I get mad at. What are you doing, man? What are you doing? Mother Teresa. She doesn't need to be catching strays here. The Dalai Lama? Really? We're going to just rope in all the world's religions? Is that kind of what they're saying? All right. No, there's Ghislaine. Ghislaine working in her office. Takes a picture with Ghislaine. All right, now I don't know what this is. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know who are these two people. Is this Nick Fuentes? I don't know what's going on here. Maybe you guys can help me out in the chat room if you know what that is. I don't know what that is. There's a bunch of human bodies and some kind of a, I don't know who that is. That's some doctor. All right. All right. Now, this is the guy who created Activision. He was the gamer. He's a bad guy, too. I heard about him, but I don't know the details. All right. So, all right. Now we're going to the halls of. We ain't seen Trump yet. I don't know who all these people are. Probably. I don't know. Is that the Supreme Court? That's not the Supreme Court. Some of them. This is a Supreme Court justice, isn't it? I don't know what I'm looking at. Bitcoin. All right. Apparently, Bitcoin was involved in molesting children. ISIS. Apparently, ISIS is involved. I don't know. Like I said, it's well done and it's interesting, but all right. So now he's going from ISIS. Now, where is he? Okay. I don't know who this guy is. Who is this guy? No idea. Oh, is that Clapper? I think that might be Clapper and De Niro. Yeah, De Niro and Clapper are hanging out. Actually, I don't know who that is. All right, so this is weird, and I don't know if this is an AI glitch, but why do we have giant Biden? Why is there like little Biden, normal Biden, and then giant Biden? Is that subliminal? All right, so George Herbert Walker, this is George H.W. Bush, Herbert Walker Bush. He's named in the files. He's involved in like terrible stuff. Obama's not in there. Stop it. Biden's not in there. Stop it. You got two Bidens. Who's this guy? JG. He's wearing JG. Who is that guy? Don't know. Yeah, that's crazy. All right, now he's going out to the Rose Garden. You know, there's one person who's been. Oh, look, it's the people. It's the people. Cat Turd and all these idiots who were the first dupe. Remember when they were invited to the White House and the president tried to lie to us all and told us that he was giving them the official, and then they got empty binders and everybody went. All the MAGA fans were just okay with that. They were like, yeah, well, that's what Trump does. And the rest of us are like, what the fuck? That was a weird thing. It's a weird attempt to deceive us, and you people are all just okay with it. Kash Patel here. And these are all, this is that Bondi chick, and the rest of these idiots are just, MAGA right-wing bought and paid for morons. Complicit in the destruction of America. Here you go. Now he's there with the king. The king is being carried by, we got Elon Musk. We got Zuckerberg. I'm thinking this is maybe Sergey Brin from Google. I don't know. And this last guy, I have no idea who that is. But there you have it. All right, look at him standing there. There you go. Now, where's he going? He's going. Oh, Netanyahu. Look at that. All right, the Israelis are involved. Of course, we learned a whole lot about his dealings with the Israeli government from the Epstein job. That's a big concern. That he was an agent of the Mossad, or at least someone who was acting on behalf of the Israeli interests here in America. I don't know what that is. Now they're going through a door. Now where is he? He's out on a city street. I don't know what that means. All right. And now we're back with the original crew. All right, there you have it. That's weird, right? I don't know what to make of that. It's all so weird. All right, you guys, I asked you to comment in the chat room here on this thing. But, again, context is very important. Let's go through it. Let's see here. All right, yeah, so Kevin knows. My son loves Five Nights at Freddy's. Yeah, my kid did too. He seems to be out of it now, but he did. There was a period of time. Let's see here. Maddie in the chat room says, that's a room in Palm Springs. I saw photos of that in the file. All right, I don't know what room. Let's see here. Barney checks in. Barney says, seems to just be pervs in general, not necessarily attached to the island. Yeah, I think you're onto something. But I still don't understand Mother Teresa. I'm sorry. I don't know in what weird corners of MAGA there is a rumor that Mother Teresa was some sexual deviant, but fuck that. Okay. That's just a step too far. I'm not going to even defend the Pope because, we all know about the Catholic cover-up and all of that stuff. So fuck the Pope. But Mother Teresa, really? Can we just? Let's see. Maddie here says he was mentioned, Kevin Spacey. He was. Oh, really? Kevin Spacey was in the Weinstein. Okay, so I guess with all the other names, Kevin Spacey kind of got forgotten. We've already classified Kevin Spacey as a creepo. Yeah, okay. So the dudes that were in the hyperbolic chambers, where there was one scene there where Epstein stood in front of 3 people who seemed to be human bodies being preserved or in some way in water, like we see in sci-fi films. One, I think, was Nick Fuentes or Charlie Kirk. I don't know. I get my MAGA twinks confused. I don't. Both of them are gay, by the way. Have you heard that? Both Nick Fuentes and Charlie Kirk are gay. I see it with Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk seems gay. I don't see it with Nick Fuentes. But maybe. Nick Fuentes just seems angry. Anyway. All right. What else do we have here? Machine Gun Kelly. That's it. Was Machine Gun Kelly one of the dudes in the bubble water being preserved? I don't know. Yeah, I want to know this too. In the hot tub, Barney says, was that Kevin Hart? Is Kevin Hart in the Epstein files? What is Kevin? Why is it once again, even these things can't get it right. Where the fuck was Anthony Anderson? Where the fuck was Blackish Anthony Anderson, who's got like 15 different sexual assault charges and fucking criminal complaints against? Where was he? Why is he being protected? Seriously, guys, why is Anthony Anderson being protected? Google him. Look at the entire section of his Wikipedia page that deals with sexual misconduct. Yet we're gonna look at somebody who we think looks like Kevin Hart, but they can't even fucking shoehorn Anthony Anderson in. He's America's favorite black guy right now, Anthony Anderson. Why is that being allowed to happen? I don't get it. You got an award show that your mother in Iowa is going to watch? Well, Anthony Anderson's going to host it because he is totally non-offensive and everybody loves him. The rapist, the multiple-time accused rapist. Jesus, I don't get it. Yeah, I don't know, Barney, if that was Kevin Hart. Maddie points out Jerome Powell. Yeah, I let him slip by. I think I said, who is that guy? But yeah, now I realize Jerome Powell was in there. Is it Chris Tucker? Maddie thinks. Chris Tucker or Kevin Hart? Look at us. Bunch of white racists. Me, you, and Barney. They all look alike to us. Is that what we're getting to? We can't tell if that's AI Kevin Hart or AI Chris Tucker. And let me tell you, they don't look anything alike. Conclusion? You're all racists. You're all racist. Kevin says that's the African ambassador that was filmed on his plane. All right then. All righty then. All right. Because, when I thought initially, I'm like, is that Kevin Hart? I thought it looked a little fat, a little chubby. Like, that's a chubby Kevin Hart. Although then earlier there's a depiction of Weinstein and he's got like fucking guns. So it's AI. AI might get shit like that wrong all the time. All right, what else do we got in the chat room? Yeah, that's the ambassador. He was the South African ambassador to France. He died mysteriously when he, for no reason that anyone can think of, threw himself off a 22nd floor balcony in Paris a couple of months ago. Just a couple of months ago. This wasn't like years ago. This was like right in the midst of all the Epstein stuff coming up and shit being redacted. This guy somehow falls to his death. Yeah, so good job, Kevin. That's who we think it is. Kash Patel, yeah, Kash Patel is there, Maddie says. Peter says, I think the big Biden behind small Biden was supposed to be Trump. No. Peter, it wasn't supposed to be Trump because Trump was saved for the end. They knew they were going to use Trump. Trump was, at the very end. I don't know what the big Biden, little Biden thing is. That's weird. Unless they're claiming there's 2 Bidens. Barney says there was a theory that they were using a Biden lookalike that was taller than the real Biden. So maybe that's it. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Somebody else saw Kushner. Where was Kushner? I don't know if I saw Kushner. I don't want to watch it again because it's creepy. Let's see here. Amy says, anyone in those emails, especially multiple times, post his 2008 conviction. No excuse. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Sam Altman carrying the casket. That's who it was. Okay. The guy that I thought might have been Sergey Brin of Google makes more sense that it's Sam Altman. Good one. Good one, Kevin. All right. And anything else? Oh, man, Maddie says that Fuentes is gay for sure. You know, I've got to say, I mean, I don't watch a lot of Nick Fuentes. You know what? I will, though. I'll go home and I'll watch some Nick Fuentes and I'll see if my gaydar kicks in. I think that my gaydar is overpowered by just, you know, the fact that he's a monster. And, you know, at that point, whether or not he's gay or not doesn't really rate, right? It doesn't matter. What matters is that he's a monster. So maybe I've never really cued in. Maybe I've just been distracted by his monstrous ways that I never noticed a lisp or anything. But yeah, okay. All right, Nick Fuentes. Charlie Kirk to me always seemed gay. Charlie Kirk is the one that seemed very effeminate, very sort of proper. And, you know, but then again, a lot of those kind of boarding school type, which is what he was trying to be, the asshole preppy. That was kind of his brand that he was going for. A lot of those guys seem very feminine anyway, because they're so, you know, upper crust and all that. But no, I always thought Charlie Kirk was gay. Or not always, but since he died, since I became aware of him, because I wasn't really aware of him before he was alive. I knew he was out there, but I didn't watch him because I thought he was terrible. But since like him dying and seeing him everywhere, I'm like, oh, that dude's gay. That dude's gay. That's why he was put together with a woman, because he wasn't going to get one on his own. He had no game. All right. That's yeah, here we go. We're gonna let him say it because he said it. Oh, no applause for this. Adam would like it known that Charlie has a new hole that he can use for whatever he needs it for. There you go. That's the best I can do there with that. All right, folks, that's going to do it for today's show. I appreciate you gathering around, hanging out with me today at noon. I feel a lot better. I hope it seems like I was a lot better. Tomorrow's going to be a wang dang diddly of a show. It's a Friday show. We are in the middle of a pledge week. The pledge week is going to continue into next week because I can tell you we ain't getting there. We have not gotten one tip yet today. I noticed that because during that last break I looked. So help the show out if you want to support this kind of opposition talk. Opposition to what, Pugs? Opposition to everything. That's what we're doing here. Opposition to everything. Help this show survive because, you know, people who are opposed to everything that's going on, we don't get those special interest dollars. We have to exist simply because you people think this kind of thing should exist. And if you're of that mind, please drop a little something in either the Venmo or the Cash App. We are desperate for your support right now. Thank you to our executive producer today. Today's executive producer was Peter the Great. Peter the Great, thank you, man. Appreciate that. If you want to be tomorrow's executive producer, all you got to do is be the first person to tip. There is not even, you know, usually it's like you got to be the big tipper. Today, it's just you got to be the tipper. You want to be tomorrow's executive producer. Now's your chance. It's easy. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Maddie. Thank you, Byron. Thank you, Barney. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you. Spread the word. Bring a friend tomorrow. It's Bring a Friend Day. Every day is Bring a Friend Day, but I'll just go ahead and say it. I am getting ready for the emotional crash of emotional crashes. I was telling my mother yesterday when I was walking, or when I got home last night, I was walking around like I was dragging ass, if you will. I was just And I said, you know, doing this show, this is not like hanging on to the back of a garbage truck in 30-degree temperatures for, 6 months a year. This is not heavy lifting. This is not ditch digging. But doing this creates an emotional dump, especially when I'm sick and when I haven't been feeling well. I try to, over amplify and push, which explains why I've been sleeping like 12 hours a day. So I'm probably going to go home and try and do that again. But I am feeling so much better, and I feel like 100% chance there's going to be a show tomorrow. Unless, of course, I get really sick in the middle of the night. Shouldn't be so. We've been going through this for 2 weeks. I'm just trying to keep you up to speed on how I'm feeling. I feel better today than I have felt in 5 days. So that's something to build on. See you back here tomorrow. Tip the show if you can. Thank you to Peter, today's executive producer. I love you all. See you tomorrow at noon. Like, follow, subscribe.